Yeah, YouTube. Hell yeah. Welcome on in, YouTube. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're practicing that self-care. And I want to start off by saying I'm so fucking excited. We have over 200 people here on Twitch waiting for this analysis, and it's probably going to be a long one. Not going to lie. I've been thinking about last week's episode, some of the comments that were kind of shared to me from the mods up into this one. And I kind of want to touch base a little bit. As Twitch can see, I have stuff written out on the board, which already means that I came prepared to answer some of the questions and some of the comments that were thrown out that way, right? As we touch into this episode. And I do want to go ahead and start off by saying this, right? I guess, number one, when we're looking at a situation like Norn and Aisha's, right, we have to understand what is trauma. I think that is the first little base that we need to go ahead and take into consideration. You stub your toe, is that trauma? No, right? It might be considered trauma to the toe, depending on the severity. But is that physical or is that actual like psychological trauma? No, right? Psychological trauma is anything that lasts over a period of time that is still festering, i.e. displacement incidents, i.e. Getting in a car crash, right? And then still feeling the ramifications or the effects of that. Anything outside of that is an acute stress incident. And it's important to go ahead and realize and talk about this right off the fucking bat, right? Because when we're looking at Norm, we're looking at Aisha, do they have trauma, ladies and gentlemen? Do they have trauma? We're introducing the prep work here. Yes. 100%. A lot of it. A fuck ton of it. Let's go displacement incident. Boom, right off the bat. Big source of trauma. Rudy beating up Paul in front of Norn. Hell yeah, big trauma. Norn just having a single parent, right? And like not really understanding the world around her. Big trauma. A lot of expectations that are being placed on both. Big trauma. Lilia being kidnapped. So on and so forth. Like, we can keep talking about all these trauma incidents that keep fucking hitting and hitting and hitting. So you have individuals that have trauma. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there because I do want to go ahead and pre-work this or pre-cook this with you guys. Because I want people to understand where I'm coming from. Whenever I talk about Norn and Aisha specifically, let's look at this. What is their attachment styles, ladies and gentlemen? What is their attachment styles? When we look at this, what is their attachment styles? What is Norn's attachment style? I'll be straight up, anxious. She has an anxious attachment style. Anxious avoidant, actually. My bad. Anxious avoidant. And I'll go into it in a bit, right? What is Aisha's attachment style? Extreme anxiety, brother. Avoidant, fearful could be 100%. High anxiety in relationships, right? It's ambivalent in that regard. Anxious, right? So that's the number one reason why we need to talk about this, right? Because individuals, whenever I was talking about Aisha and Norn, they're like, I don't get where you're coming from with all these like issues and daddy issues and stuff like that. We have to understand. For example, when I was doing my master's program, one of my specialties was in attachment, essentially like attachment psychology, right? Understanding how and why we form bonds and the way that these bonds, right, whether ruptured, right, or repaired, impact us going forward. Kids, at a very, very young age, these bonds impact how we are as adults, right? When we're looking at Norn or Aisha, they're both on either end of the spectrum. They're on extremes. They have trauma. They have these attachment styles already there. What do you think will happen when they're adults? It fucking exemplifies even further. And this is where we start getting some of those weird kinks. This is where we get some of those situations where individuals are being deviant, right, as adults. And you're like, what the fuck is going on, right? Like, what is really, really going on? And comes in the next one. Norn or Aisha, chat. In your personal, right, opinion, who has more trauma, Norn or Aisha? Also, YouTube, if you're here, grab a drink, grab a snack. It's going to be a fucking long one. I don't know what else to say. Or both. I'll be straight up with you. They both have different styles of trauma, but they both have trauma. I'm not going to compare their traumas because everyone experiences it differently, but they both have different styles of trauma, right? Next one. Forgiveness, is it an instant fix or not? No, it's not. Being able to go ahead and take yourself, right? Either from it's a traumatic event or being able to go ahead and say, hey, you know what? Like, I love you, man. I'm out of here. I can start going and fixing things. Paul and Rudy's situation, was that an instant fix or no? No, it takes time. It takes a lot of fucking work. When we look at like Rudy and Paul's situation, right? There was clearly a big ramification, the big fight. Yes, they managed to go ahead and reconcile, but it wasn't a fucking instant fix. There's still communication and shit that needs to go ahead and talk about, right? Relapse is normal. These girls have gone through a lot of fucking trauma. Relapsing is a part of the process. Relapsing into their extremities, right, that we've talked about, their deviances, is going to be 110% fucking normal. So my main question is, chat, I'm about to test you guys before I pre-cook even further. How do you talk to someone that's avoiding you? Rudy and Paul, I would say. Also, Rudy, thanks so much for the sub. I appreciate it. You go. Chat, how do you talk to someone that's avoiding you? Carefully, Aisha, who downplays her daughter. Or Lilia, yeah, you laugh with him. I can't. Through someone else? You're being casual? By text? I don't. With a lot of patience? Yeah. At their level, 100%. The worst thing that somebody can do, let's say that you just got through a really, really bad breakup, right? Or whatnot. And someone comes in and they're like, hey, Coffee, you've gone through this really bad breakup. Hey, there's 100 fish out there in the sea. Like, let's go. Logically, let me break this down for you, man. Let's go do this. Yes, that can be all, like, it can be the form of caring, but we heal through talking. And sometimes just shutting the fuck up, hate to put it this way, just shutting the fuck up and empathizing with someone, allowing them to speak their truth, allowing them to just share what's in their heart of hearts, whatever may hurt. Dude, I've had 101 therapy sessions where I've literally just been there, right? And the person never spoke to me, right? And I'm not gonna fucking break the tension from this, right? And I'm just there. I'm just like, okay. I don't have a whatnot. I'm just like, After 20 minutes of silence, they started talking. After 20 minutes of silence, even though they were avoidant and whatnot, they're like, thank you for allowing me the space I needed to open up. For not like rushing it. For not being like, logically, let's go. You have 55 minutes on the clock for this therapy session. We need to go. No, right? It's like, hey, we have a session next week. I don't mind if we have to sit here another 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long, until you feel comfortable to open up and talk a little bit. Of course, I can offer you coffee, water, whatever, right? But it's up to a person to be able to go ahead and just start opening up a little bit. If a person talks and they allow you in, you're in one of their like safest zones. Yo, welcome on in, TWT orders. High for your analysis. But that's one of the big aspects that I want to go ahead and bring up. The power of silence. The power of silence and the power of empathy that you have when you connect with other people. And this often goes dismissed. A lot of like beginner therapists, a lot of beginner psychologists that may have just graduated, this is where they fuck up. This straight up. And this is where a lot of people fuck up. It's amazing to have good support. It's amazing to have 1,001 like friends and whatnot. But if you're not ready to hear something, and if there's already a barrier or boundary there, and if you're being avoidant, me coming in and just keep trying to logically be like, hey, we need to do this, and this for you to start feeling better, that's going to feel like I'm pushing you out. So how do you talk to someone that's avoiding you? You empathize with them. You connect with them in that level, and you go forward. I hope, first off, that starts off the whole conversation that I've been having about Norn and Aisha for the last little bit. Oh my God. I told you I've been thinking about it through the fucking page. I've been talking to you guys about it. Oh, look. You need one of those that flip. It does flip, but it would just take the entire thing with me. Okay. So, chat. Holy shit, he cooked. So, let's start off talking about avoidant Norn and anxious Aisha, right? Let's talk about avoidant Norn and anxious Aisha. Could you make the bottom right? I can. I could probably make this a little bit bigger. Hold on. Is that better? Is that better, chat? Can you guys see it better? Okay, there we go. So let's talk about avoidant Norn and anxious Aisha, shall we? So, avoidant Norn. Let's start off with this. They have trauma, internal and external. Chat, what is the internal and external trauma? Maybe tilt down a little bit. Sure, hold on. You guys ain't in my best camera, unfortunately. That's as far as it would go. What is Norn's internal and external trauma? Abandonment. So we'll just connect these up here. Abandonment. Displacement. What else? Jesus, Esther Sai, it's Sunday evening. Welcome on in. What else? Missing mom. Yeah. Rudy being a dad. And we could go on and so on and so forth. They have one parental figure as of this moment. Are they in a secure attachment? Especially if dad is depressed. Especially knowing how much dad is going out there. No. Are they alone? Can they truly trust and believe in everybody else at this moment? Or are they alone? Yes. How do you think you would feel if your expectations are being compared to Rudy and Aisha? Do you think that is fair? Or do you feel like that would even like cause you to have a fucking breakdown at some point in time? Like even as an adult, if I'm being compared to Rudy, bro, fuck that shit. Paul and Rudred, inferiority complex. It's unfair. Yeah, unfair. 100%. 100%. Displacement, right? So there's a displacement incident. She's not really social. Has she forgiven Rudy? I haven't really seen or anything in that regard where she said like, hey, you know what, Rudy? What happened. It is what it is. All good. No worries. There's a fuck ton of pressure. There is a fuck ton of pressure that is being placed on avoidant Norn here with all of this shit that's happening at the moment. And we can even go further, and we really can go further. Like, I don't know fucking what this episode holds, but I wanted to break this down because people were telling me, or people were asking in the comments, like, how can you say that of Norn and Aisha are going to have some very weird deviances as adults because of this shit? Because we look at this. This is what causes deviances for a lot of people, especially if not addressed appropriately. So, reclusivity, and I am in here, I'm like similar to Eartheus. All of this is very much in a similar manner, reclusive, right? I don't really have a secure attachment. I can't really get in touch with others. I can't really connect with other people. I have all these high expectations. I have trauma, internal and external trauma. We've talked about like the deviances and shit here. Very similar to Eartheus in that regard, right? The hermit life calls. Now, anxious Aisha, on the other hand. I'm playing the Pokemon game you have and it's fun. Anxious Aisha. Does she have expectations? Yeah. She's had expectations since she was in her mom's stomach as to what was going to happen to her. Let's be real here. Chat. Aisha has had expectations as to what's going to happen to her since she's in her mom's stomach. Yep. There's a parataxic distortion that is formed with Rudy where she holds Rudy at a like godlike level. Not only that, Rudy saved her, which even pushes up that expectation up higher. Right? Yep, life was planned for her. Lily and Paul are her caretakers. She at least has 2 caretakers in that regard, even though they were separated for a bit. Is that a secure or unsecure attachment style? Is Lily a bad person for that? People are saying it's unsecure. Sure. Trauma. Lilia was kidnapped when she was a little kid. She's gone through displacement, 101 other issues similar to Norn. in that regard. But Rudy came and saved her at that time, as opposed to Rudy coming and causing a displacement issues, right? So displacement. She's social. She loves Rudy. She's essentially what Rudy is in MT. This Aisha fits in this world in such a beautiful way that she is what Rudius was as a kid in MT. What is an unsecure attachment style? Unsecure attachment style means that you don't really have a secure attachment that everything's fit in. So, like, for example, she's over here and she's over here, right? This is why we're talking about deviances all together in this show, right? We're talking about deviances in this regard. If my deviance is over here, I have to love Rudy. This is the expectation. This is everything that's being said on me. What happens, chat? Oh my god, Rudy's the fucking best. Oh my god, my kawaii Oni-chan. Oh my god, I'm gonna dote on him. If you're on this side, I need a daddy. I need a fucking daddy. Where's daddy? Daddy is my security blanket. Daddy, right? We could literally go on to one side and the other. And of course, this goes far more complex and we can fucking stretch it out. And then probably take me flipping the board over again and cleaning everything off. Right? And doing all over, because we can keep going over and over and talk about the family dynamics and talk about the attachment styles that are mixed in there and why one side impacts the other. And here's the thing. This is not about sexualizing, first off, because there was someone out there that was saying, oh, you're just sexualizing these kids. And it's like, no. We're talking about the psychological components of what's behind everything. This is talking about the psychology behind what's happening with these kids is doing all of this shit. This is why this show matters. This is why this is fucking important. And Bulbous, thanks so much for gifting out 5 gifted subs, you fucking goat, bro. Yeah. Yo, Ed. Yo, what's up, Hexu? How you guys doing? But that's the number one regard I want to talk about. And this is why I wanted to go ahead and encapsulate all of this and talk about it and go into each character study a little bit. Because for me, this is what makes these characters fucking great. Not the fact that they're perfect. Not the fact that they can re-loop through the 8,000 times and not really have any fucking trauma. It's the fact that they have trauma. The fact that they're working through that shit that grounds them in realism. The fact that they are real. Could it be said that Lilia groomed Aisha to be Rudy's maid? Yeah. Well, I mean, that was straight up the intent, wasn't it, Mickey? But through that, let me go ahead and erase this, guys. Do you guys need this or no? Do you guys need to take a picture of this or no? Last little bit before I erase it all down, ladies and gentlemen. Last little bit. Going once. Going twice. All right. This is going to be in the exam, ladies and gentlemen. I'm letting you guys know. This is going to be in your guys' final shot, final test here. So I want you guys to be ready for it. It is going to be worth at least 35% of your grade. You know? From Proud, thanks so much for subbing. I appreciate it. But I hope you guys at least took something away from this, right? Jesus. All righty, let me go and take this off, guys. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Oh, how much time do we have into the exam? Teacher, I can't read it. Well, get better thing. The Mushoku's Tensei psychology test for the... But with that, guys, do you guys was that a good little breakdown of what's happening and shit? Was that a good little breakdown of at least the background, what we would consider a little bit of a case study for Norn and Aisha, psychologically speaking, as to what's coming? I hope it was, and I hope it makes you understand the characters a little bit more. I don't know what the fuck's to come. All I know is that these were comments that were brought up in the previous episode about hey, you need to touch on this more, that I was like, okay, I need to go ahead and at least bring this up and talk about it. For me, I'm learning more about psychology from these streams than I ever did in college. Oh, thank you. For me, that's the key thing, though, is we need to go ahead and explore this, right? Further more so than what most people do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fantastic stream. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We'll be right back. Who are we kidding? Let's just keep it here, man. Let's just keep it here. Holy fuck, man. Stomping analysis. First line. Okay. Norn won't leave her room. You know where my mind goes to immediately, right? An anxiety attack, a panic attack, because of the pressure, because of everything that's going down, because we've seen how people interacted with her in the previous episode. I could totally imagine someone just feeling all the fucking pressure, someone feeling all the amount of intensity of being compared in 1001 things, that they decide to go ahead and isolate, right? What is it? Okay, first off, what is a panic attack? What are the symptoms of a panic attack? Or being extremely anxious? Could be bullying, could be 101 things. Absolutely. Like not really being able to connect with others. Say that you have like 1001 things being compared to like your older brother or whatnot. Shortness of breath, right? Could be hyperventilating, chest pain, stomach aches, blood pressure, increased heart rates. Yep. It's all of those things in once. And like, do you really feel like going out and socializing, right? Sweating. Yeah, I mean, diarrhea could even be one of the symptoms if you're not like, it affects us all differently in that regard. Not being able to control the body. Yeah, it's very similar in that regard. Yes, Razor not being able to control the body, powerlessness. Mm-hmm. But it comes in the next aspect. And here's what I'm afraid of. And this is a topic that I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. Learned helplessness. This is something that I'm very, very much afraid of. Why should I have to do anything if you know it all? Everyone always says that you and Aisha know everything. Why do I have I don't know anything. I get stuff wrong. Why should I even try if I'm going to be wrong? That sort of ability of like learned helplessness feature of the 5 Fs, right? It is rough. It is rough. And like, if I'm going to ask this of you guys, and I want a very fucking real answer from you guys. How many of you guys have had a learned helplessness at some point in time where a teacher didn't believe in you, so you just stopped trying? Where maybe like you never did great on a subject and you just stopped altogether? I know I did. I know I fucking did. And so someone spent the time to teach me how to do shit, right? How to do something, especially when it came to like some of my higher level math classes. I just didn't want to go ahead and continue with it. All of later high school, yeah, straight up. Doing higher level math caused me anxiety, man. I was fucking anxious whenever I had to do like calculus or higher level shit, and I was like, I don't really want to go ahead and do that, right? To the point where it's like, why would I even try if I'm just going to fail at it, right? So that starts to come in when it comes to certain instances. It happens almost every day in life. Now imagine this at a further instance where you already have a lot of trauma that reaffirms your cognitive distortions, that reaffirms like you are trash, that reaffirms these thought patterns that you will never succeed. But like inside of yourself, you're just falling for it and falling for it over and over again, Oof.
ボス、ちょっと待つにゃ。リニア、やめるの。なんか本気で怒ってるの。怖いの。
引きこもる。その行為は俺にとって非常に重い意味を持つ。
Right. Aww. This. I really wish people would fucking take it seriously for a moment. This is for all the fucking rando Twitter fucking people out there that are like legitimately like, they're like, I can't conceptualize Rudy as a character. This is sexual trauma. This straight up, if you guys are wondering, hurt people in a very similar regard, right? And this is sexual trauma. This is, of course, it's other forms of trauma as well. But being tied up naked right in front of others where people can make fun of you, right? Where he had his whole individuals out there, all other people around you, pointing at you, making fun of you in that regard. This is trauma. Rudy isolated himself to a point where he stopped his own development. And is this projection? Yeah, of course, absolutely, right? But this is also a form of trying to go ahead and empathize with that situation, trying to not allow that situation or a similar situation to happen, right? And then having photos spread throughout the school. So the main element still pops up, right? In regards like this. So he closed himself off. He completely shut down, didn't want to connect with anyone. As we saw in the first couple of episodes, he just completely isolated himself. Did he continue to develop or did he start to degress? He started digressing. He started stagnating and degressing. He was a high school kid that closed himself off from all forms of connection. He's not progressing mentally, physically, developmentally. He's not meeting his milestones. He's not meeting the things that would make you an adult. And these kinds of things happen in real life. And these are the kinds of things that need to be addressed with a professional. Just being straight up.
ノルンがもし同じ地獄を味わっているというのなら、俺はそこから救い出してやりたい。俺のことが嫌いで、アイシャのことが嫌いで、そして今の状況が全部気に食わないと思っていて。
But also looking at this, right? Look at the way that
アイシャのことが
the differences in this, right? The face that he must be putting as he's walking through. If the teachers are giving you this look, if the teachers are, yeah, how pissed he must be. But also, this shows you, I guess, real friendships, real dialogues, real everything.
嫌いで。
Persona and Linnea here, shrugging down the looks, being the social blockade, the social amp now, right? Holy shit, he's on the other side now. Like, legitimately, being the social filter for Rudy at this moment, where both of them are literally like taking in the looks and like subsiding them. That's wild. That is wild. I'm like paying attention to this. I'm like, socially, Rudy has put himself in a position where I bet you Earthius could never even imagine, right? And seeing the way that like he's snapping like this, seeing the projection that's happening, his own anxiety speaking out, right? And him trying to go in and like trying to empathize. I just hope that if he does reach her, he breathes. And even if she says anything along the lines of like, I don't want to see you, stay out, whatever, he doesn't listen to it. Because if he wasn't in that shoe, what happened? What happened? He's able to kill a demon king and he is mad.
そして今の状況が全部気に食わないと思っていても、俺の妹だ。
失礼します。
兄貴というものは弟や妹を守らないといけないのだ。見捨ててはいけないのだ。
What a fucking Chad walks in there, pushes the door opens. Excuse me. Excuse me. My name is Wizard Ed. I come here looking for. He comes in like a fucking WWE wrestler, just whoosh. What a fucking Chad. Oh shit, brother. Can I go to the toilet? Some psycho from the class. Excuse me, my dick works. Oh god. You should have kicked the door. But my main regard through that though is when we're looking at the situation like this, what roles is he assigning, right? And that's a key thing, and I know you guys can't see that. But what roles is he assigning to himself? He's the big brother. He has to take care of them. It's his job. It's a part of his responsibility, so on and so forth. He's the one that's putting this pressure and expectations as to what it means to be that big brother role, right? Hello, I know, right? That father figure. He's the Aniki. He's that boss energy. But that's also a fuck ton of pressure to put in on yourself as well, right? Like, parental figures, have they done a great job or a good enough job? And then even past that, will he do a good enough job to fill the roles of whatever was left or whatever is missing? Oof. Oof. This already feels like a heavy episode and we're only a minute in and we're like 33 minutes into the analysis. Oof. Oof. Chat, what the fuck? Chat, what the fuck? But also, I guess this is where this comes in. Chat, how far would you go for your sibling? How far would you go for your sibling in that regard? How far would you be willing to go in that way? If you have one. Let's just fuck it up. Rudy fucks it up. Oh, dude. Watch him fuck it up. Yeah, just watch him fuck it up, brother. Mushoku Tensei should just be like the whole stream of like Rudy learning and starting to create like big shit, and then all of a sudden he just fucks it up, bro. Oh, that's just a cycle, man. It's just a cycle. Oh. Mhm. It's a banger. But I'm about to ask something that might be controversial. I'm about to ask something that might be controversial. If Paul dies later, right? Because this whole opening is kind of a spoiler in that regard, towards pointing towards Paul dying. If Paul dies later, is that good? Like, is that like, I don't know what the fuck will come with it, but essentially, if Paul dies, is that going to be good character development, like good actual forward development for the characters? Or is that going to lead towards, like, is Paul dying a turning point, essentially? Or is that going to lead towards a turning point? Very, very key differences in that. The more I'm trying to go ahead and analyze this, the more it fucking breaks down. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, they highlight Paul so much, especially in that scene and what seems to be a fucking graveyard and whatnot, and the whole fighting and whatnot. And it's like, okay, is he going to be like a sequential turning point for Rudy? Or is it going to be like, hey, you know what? It's a misdirection and Paul isn't necessarily the turning point. And if he's not the turning point, is she the turning point? So many rats, we have to start. We're starting a restaurant. That's what I'm curious about. Like, who is the turning point in this regard? We're going to back it up just a little bit. Sorry, we need to do this intro again. There's so many little things that are standing out to me. So this entire season is about connection. This entire season is literally gonna be about connection, right? And every we go through the P, it should be an email only. And then specifically the bonds that we make in that regard. Because just looking at like the fact that, yes, it's like the whole aspect of like, you know, being a kid, being a baby, having, you know, all of that. But in comes in the whole concept of like them running forward. Like, right, Sylphie, the whole, like, every person in his life that means something being there. This is the best part. It's the milestones, right? It's different milestones. Again, I'm so confused about this because is this them, like, coming to Rudy? Rudy coming to them? Like, what is this? Like, what is this? Or someone coming to the Paul, maybe? I don't fucking know what this is, brother. But we haven't seen this unless this was already skipped over or some shit. They're with Rudyard. Right. Paul is also coming. know she has a red and blue eye, but you guys might hate me for this. Please do. Please do. Please feel free to hate me on this one. Geese. Geese being covered up, as much as he fucking is, has my fucking sauce level rising up like it's a fucking roller coaster. We're fucking skyrocketing, brother. We're fucking skyrocketing in this. We're about to go through a fucking ride here, man. It's like the fact that we have geese expertly fucking hidden, right? Expertly hidden behind everything, and just like a one, like you miss it, right? Like you'll blink and you miss it type of thing because Roxy's on screen and she's doing magic. Question. I'm gonna ask straight up. And I've had my suspicions since season 1. Y'all can go back and rewatch this. I've gotten a lot of shit wrong and then say, okay. Is Geese working with Hitogami? That is my question. That is a very fucking real question that I have. No fucking responses on that one. Thank you. But still, oh, it's email only chat. What the fuck? I was over here like, wow, they're being so kind. They're not even actually fucking talking on this regard. No, like the way that he's able to empathize with people and the way that he moves, understands, asks questions, does certain things. His EIQ specifically is off the fucking charts. And for me, it scares me. For me, he seems like one of my therapists, right? In terms of like, in case you guys don't know, I'm a director at the place that I work, and I tend to go out and supervise therapists, case managers, peer supports, a wide range of like individuals, right? And through that, like understanding the programs, there's different levels, and you can tell the different levels of where someone's at with like how they can go ahead and like interact with people, gain information, so on and so forth. You know, you have your peer supports, which connect on a one-on-one basis. You have the case managers or the behavioral health technicians who go around and they try and go ahead and like use a little bit more of the motivational interviewing, stuff like that. You have the therapists who all of a sudden start like, you know, you start seeing a lot more of the actual therapeutic interventions being used. And of course, the psychologist who should be an expert in their field as to how they use and implement things. Geese, for me, and the way that he gains information and uses certain tactics, right? The foot in the door techniques, the fucking sometimes slamming the door wide open when he's with Rudy, and the way that he navigates certain conversation makes me feel as though he's smarter than he needs to be for this world. He is a giant fucking red flag, and to be honest with you, I'm kind of scared for Roxy. I'm kind of scared for Roxy because if any of this holds any water whatsoever, chat, here's my question for you. Would you trust, considering that Hitogami for the past 2 seasons has been trying to get Roxy away from Rudius by any means necessary for some fucking reason, if Geese is in deal or somehow knows of the fucking man god, do you think that Geese could kill Roxy or could attempt to kill Roxy? Chat. That is where I'm afraid of. You guys just going fucking ham with it? Nay, yay, nay, nay. Or even further, just straight up like lead individuals down a certain avenue of destruction. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Alrighty, we'll continue. Sorry. Don't mean to fucking prone on a question for too long there.
デウスさん、今は授業中。
Wait, did she add an honorific to his name? It's not Rudius Kun. It's not Rudius. It's Rudius San. Wait. Why on earth is Rudy not getting his magic? Yeah, she did. It's the Undertaker. He comes through and everyone's like, oh shit, Mr. Undertaker. Oh shit.
中で。
少々お時間を頂戴します。いいですね。
しかし、
皆さんご存知かと思いますが、この教室の女子生徒1名が不登校になりました。彼女は僕の妹です。まだ妹から事情は聞いていませんが、不登校になる理由というのはそれほど。
If he's coming in here, he's like, if I fucking hear any of you bully my fucking sister, I'll make sure you pay. Guys, I can imitate a good dog. He's just in there like, I'll fucking bait you out. Helicopter. He's like a mad dog. Bro.
ほど多くはありません。そしてそれを作った人がこの中にいると僕はそう思っています。
ドイツだ。ドイツがひどいことをした。お前か。
できれば名乗り出てください。決して怒ったりはしません。ただ妹が傷ついたことを理解し、謝罪をしてほしいのです。
名乗り出た瞬間にバラバラにしてやる。当事者かそうでないかなんて関係ない。見て見ぬふりをしていたなら同罪だ。
Are they though, or is it just a bystander effect? And I think that's a big aspect. Is I know your sister's hurt, right? And I know your sister might be going through 1,001 things at the moment, but also, I hate to be like this as well, and also play the devil's advocate in this regard. People, I'll be straight up. I'll be straight up. A lot of us talk about empathy. But how many of you are actively aware and actively interact with individuals that are of a lesser capacity than you are, in terms of, say, like a homeless individual that's at your store that lives by a camp? How many of you actively take steps to go ahead and interact with them? Or do you just join everyone else in ignoring and passing by? A lot of people just ignore and pass by. Some people try. It's part of my job as well, Mashiro-sama. But not every time, and that's because of the bystander effect as well. You know how to interact socially because of what everyone else is doing. A lot of people are afraid of going against the curb in that regard. It feels massive secondhand embarrassment right now. It happens, dude. That's the main thing, is it fucking happens, right? And even if it's not the homeless individuals, say individuals with mental health issues, right? Or whatnot, that are having a crisis moment, and most people are just gonna ignore them, not gonna pay any attention to them. They're like, I've even heard people use this word in my field, where they're like, they're crazy, and they just keep walking forward, and it's like, what's going on, right? Like, really, like, your empathy meter shouldn't turn off immediately, when we're outside of the work environment, right? But through that comes in the main element, is Rudy automatically going into big bro must protect. Big bro must be there and protect and must care about others. I'll make them pay. I'll go through all of this. Rudy needs therapy. Aisha needs therapy. Norn needs therapy. We all fucking need therapy in some way, shape, or form.
絶対に許さない。
すみません。どうぞ。
この間、私ノルンちゃんとちょっと話してて、
ついひどいことを言ってしまったと。
違います。私ルーデウスさんのことを知ってて、でもノルンちゃんは普通の子で、だからお兄さんとは違うねって言ったらすっごく怒って。
It's that comparison. It's literally that fucking comparisons. And here's the thing. Because people might be like, oh my God, like, why is this happening? Boom. Just look at this. What is he doing? What is he doing and what is she doing? What is Norn actively doing? Let's start off with that, right? Negative mental filtering, right? if someone's like, wow, you're really not like your brother, she's probably just immediately taking that in and being like, oh, yeah, I can never be like him. Wow, that means I'm not good enough. That means blah, 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 blah. Taking that in, probably blaming, probably personalization, probably jumping to conclusions as well and catastrophizing. She's probably doing a majority of this. This all comes, right, from some sort of response, from some sort of trauma, right? What about Rudy? What is he doing in that regard as well? What do you do in that regard as we're looking at this, right? The Rudy is just straight up jumping to conclusions like, oh, because you talk shit about my sister? I'm going to go in there and just fucking go hard, right? You know, when you said the empty author, well, he's been hitting on a bunch of stuff like this for a long time, XRC, which is very well done. He's blaming back. Yeah, absolutely. For him, it's like, you attack my family, you're attacking me. And which makes me wonder, how would one break, like, I've been thinking about it further, like, how to break Rudy. And I think I would go after everyone in Rudy's circle for Rudy just to suffer. So chat, here's my question for you. How would you break Rudy? What do you think would cause Rudy to become like an insane, like older individual, like just absolutely fucking broken? Because my main thing is, you go after his environment, you go after his family, you go after his connections, right? If you want to break him. And we've already seen how his connections have impacted him. Yeah. You're evil, Ed. Give him the rat. That's how I think I'd go after Rudy. But what about you? That's evil Ed. That's just evil Ed, right? No, in the way that he is now, even if he was in Japan, because of his support system and whatnot, he'd try and find a way back home, but he'd be able to go and make connections. What you would have to do is, like, let's say that I was an evil god, right? You have to go after his connections. Make it a statement. And I hate to be fucking cruel. I hate to be evil. Hi, Lena. What you would end up doing, or what we would end up doing in that regard, is like, hey, yeah, imagine being so close but yet so far away. Imagine seeing your sisters in anguish. Imagine seeing all the people that you loved all piled up, like right there, Rudy, and there's nothing you can do about it. Just imagine. Just imagine. What would that do to Rudy as an individual? It would sour him. It would fucking sour him. But of course, I don't think the fucking anime is ever going to go that fucking dark or hard. But that's just like, if you really, really want to like showcase like the dark depths of a fucking character, you go into that regard. That would break anyone. Depending on how they manage their support networks or support structures, you know?
怒った。俺と違うと言われて、ノルンがどういうことだ。
何か思い出しましたか、先生。
ええ。先日ノルンさんに一つの宿題を出したのですが、
やりきれなかったから裸に向いて職員室に立たせたと。
What the fuck? Rudy projecting! Rudy! Rudy! You're projecting! Yeah! What the fuck? But that's what happens. Is that's what his bullies did to him, right? That's what his bullies did to him. That this is fucking trauma brain happening here, and he's just throwing that out there, right?
まさか少々出来が悪かったので、お兄さんを見習ってもう少し勉強しなさいと。そしたら泣きそうな顔になって頑張りますと。
Sounds like an inferiority complex that's come out of like aspects of trauma, aspects of attachment, aspects of like literally being compared to others. It's like she's living in the shadows, right? And there's a lot of emotions that are mixed in there that she'll never be enough. That's probably what's going through her head is she enough? Aisha's perfect. Aisha can get good grades. Aisha can do this. My big brother, everyone loves my big brother. I don't like him. I don't know why people like him. Oh my God, am I ever going to be enough? I can't get good grades. Everyone keeps comparing me to them. Oof. Oof.
そういえば俺も僕も
私も
俺のせいだった。 さぞ嫌だっただろう。今まで散々愛者と比較されてきたのに、今度は大嫌いな兄とだ。
クソ。
話は聞いたよ。ルディは悪くないよ。
シルフィー、
Oh, Sophie.
ありがとう。
そうにゃ、ボスは悪くないにゃ。そうなの、気にする必要ないの。
二人もノルンのことを教えてくれてありがとう。さっきは付き合わせて悪かったな。なんか俺バカみたいだったろ。
And I think this is the main difference. He has his support structure. He has his support structure that allows him the process of like neutralizing himself, like grounding himself, and start fixing, right? Start like feeling better, start working through these issues. Chet, do you have a support structure? And I really do mean this. Like, do you have a support structure, Chet? A simple yes or no can say a lot, right? And it can mean a lot because sometimes, like, some of us barely have some. Exactly, Chaos. Some of us, it's pretty small, yeah. For some of us, it's really difficult to connect with others. That's not a support structure, my friend. Supporting yourself, it's just you. Support structure is having others around you to help. So others that you can rely on, others that you can count on, you know? Somewhat, no. So I have some. I'm very open about it, right? I have some that's not necessarily just like, you know, a couple. It's a handful of individuals that I can trust on. But it can be quite lonely, especially if you only have one or two or whatnot. I got a cat. I kid. I got amazing friends. Or Darwin, not really. Lowell Orange, not really. Yeah. A lot of people have some difficulty connecting with others. And I hate to put it this way. If you're out of high school or out of college, it can be really hard to connect with people. It can be really hard to make new friends. It can be really hard to make friendships like IRL, right? Because how do you do it when you're not in a closed environment or an environment like where you have to see these people every day? Sayendai, yeah, you don't know. So yeah. Family counts, absolutely.
妹のために動くのはバカじゃないぞ。あっちにも妹がいるからボスの気持ちはわかるにゃ。でもちょっと意外だったの。見直したの。にゃあボス、これからどうするんだ？放っとくのかにゃ？にゃあボス、これか。
Is this like earth magic and water magic? Like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Yep. I was like, you make something out of like clay, you know, like cup, water. That's such a neat trick. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That's a neat fucking trick right there. He's just that good. So casually too. I want to do that too.
Yeah, boss. これからどうするんだ？放っとくのかにゃ？
どうもこうもないでしょう。俺のせいで引きこもったのですから。
引きこもった。そう。引きこもったのだ。
無理やりにでも授業を受けさせるの。そうにゃ。部屋から出てこないとアホになるの。そうにゃそうにゃ。
Damn, Twitter. Even people in this world knows that your brain will rot if you don't come out of your room. And y'all still criticizing Rudy as though he's a fully developed adult, and or earthiest, rather well said. Damn, it's like they have a more of an understanding of people than, you know, I'm just saying, brother. I'm just saying. They're saying go touch grass, you know, like, gotta touch grass, bro. They just fucking said, they said it. They said it. Not me. I'm very telling you to touch grass. But it's true. It's fucking true, man. Like, you close yourself off, right? You literally close yourself off. What happens? What happens? You stop fucking connecting with people. All of a sudden, you're fucking tipping your fedora to Discord kittens that you think are real, but there's just like another 32-year-old, 40-year-old guy behind playing as your Discord kitten. You know, like, you gotta be careful. You stagnate. You stagnate. You gotta be open to the idea of going out, of healing, of whatnot. Does touching grass through monitor screen counts? Yes. You got to touch grass some way, right? But my number one aspect through all of this is, guys, at the end of the day, our connections, how we heal, how we actually take our environment, how we take the next steps forward. That's what allows us to process to heal. That's what allows us to hit these milestones. And guess what? There's even milestones in adulthood. There's milestones in late adulthood as well that you need to meet. If he all of a sudden just stops, right? If he all of a sudden just stops altogether and he locks himself in, you're missing all of these crucial developmental areas.
リニアみたいなアホになるの。プルセナの言う通りにゃ。にゃ。どういう意味や。言葉のままなの。
誰も好き好んで部屋から出てこないわけじゃないですよ。
What milestones are you talking about? Ericsson's developmental summary. Here we go. No worries, no Vernac. Here you go. These are developmental milestones that you have to meet. Yep, important events. Identity versus role confusion, 12 to 18, 19 to 40. Intimacy versus isolation, middle adulthood, generativity versus stagnation, ego identity versus despair. Otherwise, you're failing these milestones. And right here on the side, we have where all of these failures, what they can lead to. Failure leads to role confusion. Failure results in loneliness and isolation. Failure results in shallow involvement in the world at large. Failure results in regret, bitterness, and despair. This has been widely studied as, and this is even like, not even like the latest aspect of things, right? There's more out there as well. Current studies that are being done in middle adulthood, like adulthood all the way to late adulthood, specifically middle adulthood, with specific milestones that are there, such as like a JPEG of the, well, this is what I'm saying. It's being expanded. These are just crucial milestones that a lot of people only seem to emphasize on it being like a young adult, right? Is it bad to meet these? It means that you're more than likely going to have some struggles adapting to the world around you, you know? It means that there's probably going to be a little bit of a struggle or a little bit of an issue present if you're missing some milestones, right? And that's the number one thing through that. It doesn't mean complete failure or anything in that regard. It just means that there's some issues that need to be resolved, or that you might, like, you know, that there's these milestones need to be met in other ways. That's the aspect through it. It's Jover. It's Jover. Thanks for showing me, Ed. I'm fucked, Ed. No, you're good. You're good, man. Here's the thing. Not everyone has, like, every milestone ever met, right? But some of us are working through some. Some of us are delayed. Some of us have, like, hey, you know what? We're doing fucking great, right? We all are at a different part, a different area.
出てこないのは出てこないなりの理由があるからです。無理に外に連れ出しても何の解決にもなりません。
Right.
けど、かといって。このまま引きこもらせたままなんて絶対にダメだ。きっと確実に後悔する。
Yeah.
ルディ。あ、ルディ。
Damn, bro. When not even your wife can get you back in.
俺が何とかしないと。
俺が何をするって。
妹さんのこと私たちも協力させてほしいの。ボスにはいつもお世話になってるからが。
ありがとうございます。でもどうしたら。
So what's the biggest obstacle in Norn's life at the moment? What is the biggest thing that she needs to do to start healing? Is that not even like the inferiority complex that must be filled? She needs to talk with Rudy. It's not even about forgiveness or acceptance. Those are aspects that can come at a later point. But she needs to start opening up. And he just needs to listen. And he just needs to listen. She needs to ask for help. She legitimately, a person like this that already has an inferiority complex, that already communication is key. Absolutely. She needs to communicate what she feels. And that's the number one aspect through this is like, you can have 1,001 friends and still feel fucking lonely and still feel inferior to others. Because if you don't communicate, if you're not able to go ahead and open up, guess what? You might like literally be hurting yourself in these social events. You might be going to social events where, you know, everyone's like, oh my God, Bulbous, you're here. Oh my God, I fucking love you. And you might still feel like the loneliest person in the world. Forgiving her brother, that's an extra step that, like, if she takes, right? With communication, with proper communication and love and whatnot, right? 101 regards. Because depression is I'm going to be straight up with you guys. Isolating yourself, which can lead to depression. Depression is a killer. Depression is the hidden killer. 100%. 100% Depression is a hidden killer that, you know, stops us from growing, that can at times literally cause a wide variety spread of physical ailments and 101 other aspects to come through if it's not treated correctly, if it's not mitigated, right? If you're not allowed to be given like the proper coping skills and the proper ability to start healing from it. Depression affects your brain in many different ways, right? And then like there's actual implications of what it can do to your neurons and your neurological pathways and, you know, so on and so forth. And the way that, like, you know, even under, I think it was an MRI where they showcase like the different areas of your brain light up in different ways. Individuals that are like have a mental illness, mental disorder, whether it's depression or whatnot, it can fuck you up, man. It can really, really, really do. It can prevent you from taking those initial steps. Depression is a bitch. It is. That's why I'm saying it needs to be healed, but you can start that process by talking. You can start that process by communicating. You can start that process by venting, by saying, bro, I don't fucking understand you. Like, I don't understand why I'm always being compared. I have this pit in my stomach that I'm just looking at you and I have all this anxiety and so on and so forth. I'm going to ask straight up, how many of you guys deal with depression? Very real fucking question, even on YouTube. How many of you guys deal with depression? I do. Very straight up. Dealt with depression? Yeah. Yeah. Moderate depression? Yeah. And how do you guys, like, for example, if you guys do deal with it, how do you like for people to approach you when you're in that depressive state? How do you like for people to approach you when you're in that depressed state? Do you like people coming up and talking to you? Do you like to be left alone? What do you like? What helps you? What are your coping skills in that regard? Because here's the thing. If we're looking at Norn and we're looking at this whole environment as to whatever she might be going through, these are not conversations that they're having in their world, clearly, right? How do I know if you're depressed? If you're feeling sad, if you're isolating yourself, we can go through the DSM, but it's for a period of time. It's usually, you know, we can talk about like aspects of depression and then actual depression, which can be like categorized pretty quickly, especially if it's over a month period of you feeling down. And it can come and go. You can have seasonal depression. You can have momental depression. You can have episodic depression. For example, you have a really, really bad day. Someone passed away. And every single time that day comes, you know, the night of, you start feeling like absolute garbage, right? How can I tell when I'm just sad versus I'm depressed? Because sadness is a feeling that can go away, like, you know, can be influenced by other emotions in a day or 2 day or a week period. Depression is something that can stick with you for a good while, and it's a repetitive cycle for weeks or months, you know? Yeah, this winter was fucking brutal. Depression during winter is the worst. But that's what I'm trying to highlight is like Norn has a lot that's going through her, right? Norn has a lot of like different thoughts and ideas and whatnot. But in order for her to start healing, she needs to start communicating. She needs to start communicating. And that's the key there.
いい案があるにゃ。あちらに任せるにゃ。え、なになにどうしたの？食堂でアリエル様が演説するんだって。え、それ本当？でもなんで急に？ほら早く、もう始まっちゃうわ。ルディ。
状況？
問題なし。みんな食堂に行ってる。
アリエルの演説で女子寮の生徒の気を引いてもらう。その間に俺が侵入し、ノルンに会うという作戦だ。
アリエル様に感謝しないとな。リニアとプレセナは？
準備できてるよ。ごめんね、力になれなくて。さっき僕もノルンちゃんの部屋に行ってみたんだけど、話を聞いてもらえなくて。
シルフィは何も悪くないさ。大丈夫。ノルンは俺が何とかしてみせる。
And I think that's the thing, though, is like even in situations like this, unless I don't know how to highlight it. There are people with different resilience networks, right? And I hate when people say this. Why are you still sad? Why are you still depressed? You does that happen already? That happened a week ago. Why are you still sad? Why are you still depressed? I've heard people literally say this, right? People have different get over it. Exactly. Stop being sad. Wow, five head. People have different resiliency, like patterns, different resiliency networks altogether. Like some of us can, like, yeah, we fall down, we get back up, and it's easy to go through it, right? We stand up, we're like, okay, coping skills, we're set to go. Other people, it takes them a while because they got to build that trust with themselves that it's okay to start healing. That's a major difference. And that's super duper important. That's what exactly. There should be mental health classes in school. I'm a fucking full on moment of that. We're proponent of that. Like there needs to be more mental health education being placed out there. Because clearly, as we can see, there are a lot of people that just get into their echo chambers and scream at the top of their lungs a bunch of misinformation and shit. The press just say that your depression legally cannot enter your brain without your consent. I was, John.
ご苦労様です。
ようこそにゃ。
もう気をつけてよね。
ごめんなさいなの。
ノル、俺はお前に何かできる。
But realistically, what could they do? What could they do if Rudy just walked in there and it's like, I'm gonna see my sister, and just starts walking towards his sister's fucking room? Like, who's gonna stop him? Who's gonna stop him? Like, hey, yo, I gotta have a Colonel, I'm gonna see my sister. The Patriots, they're all around. Gotta get in my cardboard box, Colonel. They still, I know he's feeling like fucking Solid Snake, Gorilla Girl. Nah, bro, I feel like if he went all out, he fucking stops a Demon King, brother. Maybe they just want to do the cool spice shit. It's all about the vibe, guys.
いるだろうか。
着いたにゃ。そこの突き当たりが妹さんの部屋にゃ。
ノルン、いるか？俺だ。
Well, I mean, because people are talking about social consequences. You walk in with Sophie. Hey, we're here to see my sister-in-law. Hey, stuff is happening. This is an emergency. I don't even think the professors can stop you at this point. Just fucking go on in there.
ルーデウスだ。ノルン？
来んな。
He's gonna start projecting. This is all giant fucking projection, isn't it? In a big aspect of self. I'm already we've already started seeing aspects like this. Criminy, thanks so much, man. Appreciate for the sub. Exactly. And the more that we're hearing this, because even earlier we're seeing his cognitive distortions, and we're seeing a lot of his own personal projections come in. So I wouldn't even fucking doubt it if he starts fucking hearing auditory hallucinations or aspects like that. No, that's not Norton's voice. But when we're talking about aspects like this, think about it this way. You've been hurt, you've been traumatized before. You come into this environment where you think you're safe and sound, and you start seeing similar aspects pops up. What do you think happens? What do you think happens? You start reliving the moments as to what may have happened. You start reliving aspects of your past. You start seeing, and maybe this is why it's like the psyche is such a very fine line of trying to go ahead and understand things. Or Norton is doing a Princess Fiona. One or the other. Bing bong. Yep. Projection 101, ladies and gentlemen. Projection 101. And I hate to put it this way, but this is this is sadly the truth. This is Earthius. And that's what he's seeing. That is what he's projecting out there. Holy shit. In case you thought you're thinking attachment is wrong, I was fucking right. Norn is going through an Earthius moment, and even Rudius is conceptualizing this moment. Even even Rudius is conceptualizing this moment as well. Like, I just want to go ahead and throw this out there. Earlier, we were talking about, like, you know, avoidant Norn and how, like, everything adds up in a very similar way to Earthius. And throughout the entirety of this episode, it's just been projection after projection after projection, and instances of, like, quite literally displacing your feelings, right? If anybody says anything, I'm gonna fuck them up, right? Like, you know, if anybody does anything to my sister, I'm gonna fuck him up, because he wishes somebody did that for him, right? But at the same time, would he have accepted that if it was him? No, he probably would have fucking shoot him out. He probably would have shoot him out. This is why it's important. Like, this is fucking writing, bro. This is cinema. This is fucking cinema. Like, this is beautiful, man. Is it healthy for him? Yeah. Absolute fucking cinema. Because at the end of the day, it comes around in circles, and at some point in time, you'll meet someone in your life at some point in time that went through something similar. May not be exactly the same thing, right? But if you haven't healed from that shit, guess what? It'll come back and it'll hurt. It'll fucking hurt. Oh. So projection is not bad in this case. Here's the thing. There's layers of projection that come through, right? Projection as a means to heal, and projection as a means to hurt others. And in a situation like this, sometimes we project aspects of ourselves, like almost every day, to be able to deal with our environment, to be able to start the process of healing. And sometimes you do need a confrontation moment like this for him to take that next step forward, right? Even though there might be a relapse.
俺が引きこもった時、兄貴が俺の部屋に来た。あの時、兄貴は俺に向かい。
But that's not necessarily gonna work. And then people get tired after a while, and people leave. And all of a sudden, you reaffirm your own belief cycle that no one really cared about you enough to hear your side. All people were doing was arguing with you and trying to get you to go outside and fucking go eat or go to the movies, and you'll magically start feeling better. But that's not necessarily always the case. Sometimes you just need people to hear you out. And sometimes you just need someone, a presence, someone there, even if it's not saying anything. Imagine this. Because what he's doing right now is essentially filling in the role and filling in the steps. Filling in like the roles and filling in the steps that like his older brother fit in, right? Oof. And 100% stick figure. If you're not listening to someone that's depressed or someone that's going through some shit, you're just preaching at that point.
部屋に来た。あの時、兄貴は俺に向かい、あれこれと正論をぶつけた。お前よりもっと辛い目に遭っている人もいる。今は辛いかもしれないが、逃げればずっと逃げ続けることになる。それはもっと辛い。しばらく学校に行かなくてもいいから、とりあえず俺と一緒に飯でも食いに行こう。
And his brother was at least trying to break bread with him. His brother was at least trying. However, Yeah, others have it worse than you. I know. Fucking know, man. What would you have done differently? I would have done one thing. Like, aside from like the whole others have it worse than you, because that's not empathetic, that's sympathetic. How do you bring someone who's not leaving to his room to therapy? Well, John, here's the thing. Sometimes people have to recognize they have a problem before seeking help, right? In this regard, be quiet, listen. Aside from be quiet and listen, what would you guys do differently? I'm gonna be straight up with you. He's saying, let's go ahead, get some food. Let's go grab a bite to eat. Hug him? Sure. I would bring food there and I would eat it with him. I would bring food there and eat it with him. It's a lot harder for you to not try and open up or have a conversation when someone is there with you, when someone's eating food with you. Food, breaking bread. This is why breaking bread is so important. And this is why sometimes, like, the more that I think about it, the more I wish, like, as a kid or whatnot, that I would, like, I would have spent more time, like, with my parents, like, actually eating and having these conversations whenever they'd be like, come to the dinner table. Even though it was fucking annoying as a teenager growing up, right? But as an adult, you start realizing what it's there for, right? And it's there for the power of connection that we have. And that's the main element through it. Another big thing through this is you just sit there, you listen, you get your manga, breaking bread, exactly. You get your mangas, you get whatever, and you sit and you listen. But here's the thing, their main assumption is, oh yeah, you can go out of this room already, but that room is his prison cell. So the first thing that you need to go ahead and do is get them used to at least being happy and being like, hey, for example, I always say this, I don't care where you are, what stage of life, you're a guy, you're a girl, you're whatever you may identify as, right? If you're watching this show and if you got in this far, I'm proud of you. I am, and I do mean this legitimately, right? As a random fucking guy on the internet saying this, I'm proud of you guys. I really, really am. Because if you're going through some shit, if you're depressed, if you're really, really anxious, if you're hurting right now, if you've had some really, really, fucked up things happening in your life at the moment, when we're talking about things like all together, sometimes the only thing you can do is try to wake up. Maybe even like put on like a YouTube and you're lying in bed because you're afraid, right? Because maybe it's too much energy to take that next step, to get out of bed, to go shower. Because maybe it's too much energy to even do everyday aspects that maybe you could do beforehand. This is why I always say I'm fucking proud of you guys. And I love you guys. And if you guys need a support network, it's that we're here for you, right? This is not a replacement for therapy in any way, means, or forms, right? It's more of a support network that if you need a community to talk about the amazingness that is fucking Mushoku Tensei, or maybe something that are going through your life, it's there for you. Because at some point in time, we all need someone. We all need something to connect with, right? And I've been at that point where it was hard waking up in the morning. I've shared this before. I've attempted it in the past before. And trigger warning for that, right? It got to a point where it was hard to get out of bed. It got hard to wake up. It got hard to have any energy to do anything. It got hard to even listen to my brother come in, right? But nonetheless, they still did day after day after day after day. Depression and falling into a deep abyss, it sucks. It sucks. And sometimes you're in it and you're in your feels and you're just like, man, I'm trying to like find something to connect with, or I'm trying to get a message, or trying to go ahead and understand. And if you need that hint of like motivation or something to go ahead and say, hey, take that step if you want to take a step to heal. And my number one thing is like, I really like, even if people try and make fun of it and people are like trying to go ahead and subdue it with like weird jokes or whatever, I'm proud of you. I really, really fucking am. Because watching Mushoku Tensei, watching anime in general, or watching mediums or shows or whatnot, like different mediums, video games, whatever that may be, is what allows us to start the process of healing. But please talk. Please communicate. And if can be, once you feel healthy enough, seek professional help. Seek professional help. Anyways.
そんな感じのこと。俺はそれに心の中で唾を吐いた。何も言い返すことなく徹底的に無視した。
Right.
こんな奴に俺の気持ちはわからないと、そう決めつけて。
And that's the thing, and I think this is important. We're talking about as well. Please never use "I understand what you're going through." Little advice segment here. Please never use "I understand what you're going through." You don't. You don't. I never even use this with my people. Like with anyone that like, you know, even if you relate to them, right? It's the worst possible phrase to use. It's very sympathetic instead of empathetic. I can't even imagine what you're going through. Because you can't. We can't. We're not in that person's shoes. We can draw from our experiences to empathize with people, but we don't exactly know what they're going through. So just be very honest, be very upfront, and just say, I can't even imagine what you're going through, but I can try and relate from my experiences. And that's a big and powerful impact, right? Because here's the thing. Imagine someone going through a really, really rough scenario, and all of a sudden, yeah, Tsunobu's real for IRL, he'd be healed. Oh, mate. Oh, pretending he understands. And that's the thing, is like, if you don't understand, you don't understand. If you don't understand, you don't understand, and that's okay. That's okay, because we're not all going through the same shit. And I think that's something that needs to be exemplified rather than giving falsities, right? How do he dream? Thanks so much for the sub, man. I appreciate it. Here you go. Here's a big heart.
これがあの時の兄貴の気持ちか。あの時以降、兄貴が俺に接触してくることはなかった。兄貴が何を考えたかはわからない。だけど多分ここで引いたら俺も戻ってこられないだろう。
Right.
ノルンも引きこもったままになってしまう。立ち去ってはダメだ。けど。
兄貴。
Him doing this is making amends with his past. That's huge. That is fucking huge, man. He's doing what he wished his, like, you know, being placed in his brother's shoes, but even still going forward and trying to be the right response. Trying to be the right response. I'm going to ask this chat real quick because I got to run to the restroom. When you're depressed, when you're in that deep, dark sadness, and even if you still are, what is the right response for you? What do you wish that people would do for you? What do you wish that people would come through and try and talk to you? Or how would they wish they would approach you to try and get you to process, like, to maybe even start feeling a little bit better? Oh, thanks, Napoleon. I appreciate it. Just be there and not leave me alone. Play games together. Hug? Sure. Silence? Take me out somewhere? Sure. Getting me to grab some food? Asking questions about your experience? Watch anime together? Art? I'm here for you. With a drink and listen? Plus, when I'm playing games, just hear me out. Just hang out and do an activity together. Hang out, be there, walk, hug. Just tell me I am here for you. Don't worry about it. And that's a big one, Wiggly. 100%. Just telling someone I'm here for you. I've always, but if you don't, what if you get tired of having to pull yourself out? I know we have to, but what would you wish that people were there for you? How would you wish that someone would help you in that regard? Listening without judgment. Yeah. Hang out and don't have expectations. And this is why I'm highlighting it, because all of us have different responses as to what we wanted, what we needed. Sometimes a hug, sometimes connection, sometimes saying, I love you. Like, I know you're going through a really, really rough time. I'm here for you. I love you. We'll make this out of it. And if you need anything, I'm here for you. you know, that is it's fucking huge. To be honest, I don't know. I've always been work late at night. So, sure. Ignore you. Yeah, but then that can get worrying because what if you fall out further? Go out for a beer. I mean, that's been my solution. You're available if you want to do things. I'll try to put stuff together. Sure. Just hear me out. Go for a hike with me to the mountains. And that's the main element through that, right? Is understanding we all have different layers as to what we can, I don't know, like heal from, what we can heal as. I think culturally, depending on like what support structures look like in your culture as well, depends a lot on what you feel works best for you. So for example, yeah, grab a beer too, man. I'm a Mexican American, right? So my culture is a little bit of a mix of both, right? But more specifically to do with the Mexican side, where culturally families tend to really just stick together for everything. Like it or not, it's fucking glue, bro. You try and do one thing, and then, like I was fucking having issues, right? Like one day, and I was living out of state, out of whatever, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling the best. And within like a couple of days, I had my brother fucking flown over there without telling me, and he's over there like, hey, what's going on? I heard you're not feeling well. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I was like, I'd get over it in that regard. But culturally, we also have significance as to how we wish to heal, right? And what is okay and what is like deemed adios amigos. And like what it helps in that regard. Blood is thicker than water. La familia mueve el bloque. La familia mueve montañas a veces. The brother senses tingling. La familia viene primero. Exactly. So that's the main element that I'm trying to highlight from this is like culturally, we all have differences as to what works and what doesn't work. And I hate to put it this way, and I'm going to ask this straight up. Culturally, or even family-wise, how many of you is mental health still stigmatized? How many of you, culturally, is mental health still stigmatized? Oh, no, you don't have ADHD. You're not one of those people. You're not on the spectrum. No, you don't have depression. No, you don't have depression. Watch out. Let me take that depression out of you. Watch out. Like, you know, like, like people are just straight up trying to go ahead and like, hey, what are we watching? Like people literally try and say like 1,001 other things to try and like not deal with the fact that like mental health are very real things, right? And to some extent, mental health might be taken seriously. Oh no, not the chancla. And to other extents, they don't, right? And to other extents, it's kind of like played down. And that's the main element that I'm trying to go ahead and bring up is like even the resilience culturally as to what is deemed okay and not okay from like, you know, aspects of mental health is big. I don't want to bother. Oh, my country is relatively progressive. Well, that's great, Speedball. Hell yeah. I think even in America, yeah, it's still stigmatized here.
いつからだろう。この人を恐ろしいと思うようになったのは、初めて会った時、この人はお父さんを殴っていた。それまでずっと私を守ってくれていたお父。
I'll wait. No daddy issues, trauma. Fine, you were right. You should make a bingo card. From the first time we met, it's trauma, bro. It's daddy issues. Yeah, no daddy issues to see here. What the fuck moments. And that's the main element I'm trying to bring up is it's all about the psychology as to what's happening in that environment. What's going on with the attachment of whatnot. It's not even about me being a wizard or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about understanding these characters further, right? And understanding the fact that, like, for her, she's gone through some fucking shit. She's gone through major fucking shit. Like, a kid her age going through all of that, and she's gonna have some fucking issues, yeah.
お父さんを、誰よりも私を大切にしてくれていたお父さんを。
Right.
もう こんな人が家族だなんて認められるはずなかった。私はこの人を嫌いになった。ついこの間久しぶりに会った時は酔っ払って女の人と一緒にいた。今もきっとお父さんは必死にお母さんを探しているはずなのに。
POV, not with the woman, with your sister-in-law. Just saying. Just saying. Pobrecita. Es tu hermana. Not just with any woman, it's your new sister, right? Oh, but no, I get it though. And I la cuñada, right? And I think this is a main element through this. Is we also have to take into consideration is her perspective, what is happening in her regard, right?
それなのにこの人はとても幸せそうだった。とにかく怒られないようにしなきゃ。ここに私を大切にしてくれる人はいないんだ。外に追い出されるのが怖い。ここはとても寒いから。
That says everything. No one here cares about me. Is that truth or is that just her own, like literally created by her own cognitive distortion? It's created by her own cognitive distortion. And this is why we need to be careful when, like, whenever we talk or whenever we look at things, and we always need to be asking, are you okay? What's going on? It's her cognitive distortion. It's not necessarily the truth, right? Because if you take into consideration everything, it's her mind. It's her schema. It's how she's viewing the world. And her, like, and it's all just jumping to conclusions filled with aspects of trauma. It's trauma brain, right? And where is trauma stored, chat? Where is trauma stored, right? Trauma is stored at the end of the day, just jumping to conclusions, in the body. In the body, chat. In the balls. Trauma is stored in the body. So she's listening and she's saying things and she's reacting in this way, right? Immediately because her body is like, okay, threat. It's a threat. It's a threat. It's the 5 Fs. It's the 5 Fs. Flight, fight, freeze, fawn, or fuck. It's the 5 Fs that work. And in this case, she's like, oh shit, I need to secure my safety. I need to secure my belonging. I have my fucking base needs I need to take care of. Fuck, I might need to play along until I can find a way to stay safe. But if I stay safe, is this really going to stop? What's going to go on and happen in this regard, right?
私、寮で暮らしてみたい。
寮暮らしか。
ダメだよ。お父さんはお兄ちゃんと一緒に暮らせって言ってたもん。
わかった。じゃあノルンは寮で暮らすといい。
なんで怒らないの？わがまま言うなって怒鳴るんじゃないの？この人は私に興味がないのかもしれない。いや、きっと私が邪魔なんだ。そう考えるとなぜか少し悲しくなった。ノルン・グレイラットです。よろしくお願いします。グレイラット？
もしかして
Well, hearing that, right? Oh, maybe no one cares about me. Maybe no one really cares about me, or right, whatever. Starts dogpiling, right? So this is what you call layered, like, fallacies or layered cognitive distortion. So you have, say, no one loves me. I'm living in my brother's shadow. What else? I am never enough. Blah 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 blah. And all of a sudden, everything she ever sees will be through these perspectives. Everything she ever sees will be like, does it fit this one? Does it fit this one? Does it fit this one? And this is why you need to be careful. And this is why whenever we talk about situations like this, we need to go ahead and talk, like, if people have this perspective, no one loves me. Guess what? You can, and it's not like day to night process where it's a mental filtering, right? It's not an everyday like night to day process where it's like, oh my God, you do love me. Guess what? If you're in a relationship with someone like this, even though you've proven it 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 times that you do love them, but you don't love me. The relapse might be real if they don't get the help. I'm living in the shadow. Oh, so true. Same thing. I'm living in this person's shadow. Oh, I'm never enough. I'm not educated. I'm not worthy. I'm not whatever. You'll start seeing these things start coming through over and over and over in that regard. What to do then? Take them to a therapist. They need to break this down in a regard where it's... I think the main thing is I am never enough. This is where cognitive behavioral therapy comes into play. And this is why I loved going ahead and clarifying the differences between a psychiatrist and a psychologist and why it's important to know the difference. Because a psychiatrist will only prescribe meds to get you to baseline. You have 15 minutes with them where you can tell them anything you want, right? But they're not going to actually do any psychological therapeutic counseling techniques. What they'll do is they'll give you meds to try and get you to baseline. Psychologists, on the other hand, they can't prescribe meds, but they'll therapize. They'll do therapeutic interventions with you. Therapists will too, to try and get you to go ahead and like talk about it and whatnot. So one of the big aspects to this is examining the evidence. So for example, not enough and what makes you enough. Right? So it'd be taking this through, right? And this is cognitive behavioral therapy. You'd probably be doing one of these. Then you'd probably be doing a fucking continuum, right? So like on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rank yourself saying that you are enough? Let's use your logic for you to try and break this apart. No, it's not XRC. It really isn't. It really isn't. But at least in the community mental health based settings, 15 minutes is sort of what it gets into. Talk to Norm. Right, Ultimate? Right? Oh shit, someone got their beer out. Hertog. Hey, cheers. It will tackle my problem. I was willing to take some to someone with autism on because most mental health organizations won't. They should, R. Darwin. Like being on the spectrum, whether it's ADHD, whatever it may be, is very much a common thing that's happening in the, like every day, right? And I love to like it's an everyday diagnosis in this regard, right? And the reason I'm talking about this is like, for example, some people say that you need ABA therapists, which you might, right? People might. But at the same time, going to a therapist or going to a psychologist, most individuals should at least have the baseline to go over aspects like this. And if they don't have the tools to do it, at least refer you to someone that at least has a specialty in, like, you know, say the spectrum work, right? Or whatever that may be. I still highlight this because from these two, of course, using narrative work and using attachment work, you can go on and on to try and make sure that you tackle the cognitive distortions that are present. And that's why I'm looking at Norn and I'm like, she needs to start the process of talking things out and getting rid of like these cognitive distortions to start healing. And even if she does, she might relapse into them. And she might relapse into the whole like, oh, but you know, daddy was my secure blanket. Daddy was this, daddy was that. Because at the end of the day, guess what? For a good period of fucking time, for many, many years, that was true to her. And that was true to her world. Oof. And it's not a bad thing, by the way. Whenever I say daddy, it's any, like, you know, individual that can go ahead and offer that. Oof.
ひょっとしてルーデウス・グレイラットさんのご家族ですか？はい。ルーデウスさんの
So the way to get rid of these distortions is to talk. It's to examine them, to process them. You have to talk them out. You have to go ahead and start acknowledging what they are. You have to start working through them, right? And like identifying when it happens and being like, no, that's just my cognitive distortion talking. It's a lot of self-work. It's a lot of self-work. Like, it's not just as simple as like you go and you talk. It's a lot of interpersonal work that people have to do in that regard. And by the way, if you ever go to a therapist and it's just getting flatline, like, oh yeah, you go in and all you're doing is like talking, but you don't feel like you're healing or processing, unless it's narrative therapy, because that's all narrative therapy really is. Find another therapist. Find another therapist. Find someone that challenges you. Find someone that makes you go, And not every session is going to be fucking amazeballs, breaking down the courts, but some of them are going to be Hey, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about this cognitive distortion. Tell me a little bit more about this, right?
学園最強のすっげえ妹ってことは魔術とかお兄さんに習ってるのか？
何それ？じゃああなたも魔術の天才なの？
お兄さんすごいよね。とっても強いし。
いいなあ、俺もあんな兄ちゃんが欲しいぜ。
ノルンです。
Oh. Oh.
ルーデウス先輩の妹さんですよね。
What's up, Lord Hab? How you doing?
はい、ノルングレイ。実は私たち前にルーデウスさんに魔術を教えてもらったことがあって、そのお礼を伝えてほしいんです。
Could you imagine that? Could you literally fucking imagine that? No matter where she goes, the person that she hates the most, right? Or not hates, but dislikes, she can't get away from. What is better, to have bad therapists that manipulate you or hurt you, or have any therapist? There are therapists out there that won't hurt you or manipulate you. If a therapist is doing that, call the licensing board or call their managers or whatever to get them out. Because this, yeah, goodbye self-esteem. Goodbye aspects of adoration, of trying to go to kneel. Goodbye aspects of self, right? Because let's take a look at this. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Boom. What is happening to her? What is happening to her? Good old Maslow, right? What is being like destroyed? What is being destructed from this? What is being like hurt every single time? Does she trust her family at the moment? No, there's issues there. Does she have friendship? No, there's issues there. Does she have sexual intimacy? I don't fucking know. It hasn't been described, so no. Self-esteem, being fucking hurt, confidence by others, achievement, respect of others. They respect your brother, they don't respect you. So she's hurt all the way down to the yellow or the red. She's all the way down here. She's all the way down here, basically in the yellow. That's fight or flight. That is fight or flight, ladies and gentlemen. If you're down here, you're fighting to stay alive. You're learning to go out and do certain things. And I will say this, though, and I had a really, really sad case, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. Imagine being at yellow your entire life, and I had this happen a while ago, and it kind of breaks my heart. What's up, Belly Chan? How you doing? It really, really broke my heart. Imagine being at yellow for 20, 30 plus years that like you don't know if you're gonna like you don't even have a home. Say that you're homeless, right? And you're fighting for food, water, fighting a place, whatnot. I'll share this because for me, it's also about like, oof. Okay. So, a long time ago, I've always been doing Fridays. Or whatnot, when I would go, to an area where a lot of my homeless individuals in my city get together, hand out pizza, sit with them, eat with them, and then I come home and I stream, right? One of them was finally able to get housing. One of them was finally able to get a house after 20 plus years of trying to go ahead and, do one, try and get a housing, whatnot. 20 plus years of being in the yellow. 2 weeks later, he passed away. Why do you think that was? You break my heart. Damn. Yeah. No. We can say poor health, yes. We can say all of that. He had been fighting for so long. That once this need was met, immediately, right, he reached his goal for him. He didn't have to worry about being in the yellow all the time. He didn't have to worry about like certain instances like that. And it broke my heart. It broke my fucking heart, right? Because essentially, without breaking too much HIPAA or anything like that, or any HIPAA, essentially what was written was, what do I have left to fight for in that regard? If, like, what I was fighting for every single day, what was my prime objective in my mind, and he was exhausted, was only meeting my base needs. Exhausted about life. Yeah, could be. But nonetheless, this is why, like, you know, getting housing and talking about housing and putting in goals, he lost his purpose. Putting in goals of like, hey, you know what? Yes, getting housing is important, but let's also talk about your future goals. Let's talk about future orientations, what you're going to do afterwards, so on and so forth. And I am talking about this. It's a very fucking raw topic, and it's deep, right? And it's something a lot of people don't like to go ahead and touch on. But whenever we look at this is what we need to pay attention to. We need to be wary of, right? So, looking at Norn, where is she at? Man, I hope you guys feel that too, man, because I'm like, fuck. Where is Norn at? She's in the yellow. She's in the red or yellow. And we need to go ahead and start getting her. Yeah. We need to start getting her to at least start aiming up, building her esteem, building her friendships, start getting her own like aspects of like what it means to have a healthy interaction with her family, what it means to have that security of knowing that your family might be there, right? What might mean to fill this up appropriately. How old is Norn? Chat. She's 11. We go up one and the one where it's at. So she's going through two different developmental strikes here. Industry versus inferiority and identity versus role confusion. How can I be good? And who am I? And where am I going? Children need to cope with new social and academic demands. Success leads to a sense of competence, while failure leads to feelings of inferiority. Next one. Teens need to develop a sense of self and personal identity. Success leads to an ability to stay true, while failure leads to role confusion and a weak sense of self. And even go further. Am I loved or wanted? Success leads to strong relationships, and failure leads to loneliness and isolation. Ladies and gentlemen, Norn is going through a fuck ton right now. Norn is literally struggling developmentally speaking. Norn is literally legitimately struggling developmentally speaking and hitting all of this stuff. Wow.
すみません。
編入してすぐですからね。大丈夫です。きっとお兄さんのようになれますよ。
なりたくない。
ねえ、
はい。
君のお兄さんってさ、
わからない。
That's anxiety. That is just straight up anxiety. That is like holding the pit of your stomach of like everything that everyone's saying and you don't know how to go and express it and all. Yeah. Psychology while writing, or is it a consequence? So here's the thing, Cyberspace Cat. This doesn't come necessarily like this comes from writing realistic characters. This comes from writing well-rounded, realistic fucking characters. Like you don't need to know anything of psychology. Just observe people around you, right? And if you really observe like how people act and react and whatnot, can I just say that I think you're fucking based, dude? Oh, thank you, Darwin. Like, if you legitimately just observe people around you, you will start making choices based on realism, right? Based on the actual psychological principles that we can look back at and touch on, right? And I think that's a main element through this type of writing. Exactly. And it's also not because she's pregnant, in case anyone's out there like, oh, she's pregnant. Look at that. Got it. Like, I could already imagine some fucking emoji reactors trying to be like, oh, she pregnant? She pregnant? She pregners? It's like, no, guys, this is like legitimately whenever you deal with high levels of anxiety, what I say, people with like literal little media literacy, right? when you look at situations like this, right? One of the biggest things is anxiety. It stores itself into a ball of like nerves in your stomach, and that's what's important, right? To talk about it. Couldn't have timed that better. No, you couldn't have, Red Coffee.
アリエル様とお兄さんの関係が気になるのかい？安心したまえ。君のお兄さんはああ見え。
知りたくない。
So why do you think she doesn't want to know? Chat. Actual question. Why do you think that she does not want to know? The same reason you have a lot of people on Twitter going, no, or Reddit, no, that's not true. No, that's a good point, but that's not true. It goes against her worldview. It's cognitive dissonance, 100%. It's going against the philosophy that she's used that has worked for her up to now. Everyone's saying how amazing your brother is. Guess what? That's clashing against your worldview. That is legitimately clashing against what she thinks was truth. Her truth versus what the world is telling her is true. That is causing her, like, am I wrong? Am I right? Like, there's so many things that, yeah, you start humanizing it, like, all these people humanize and adore your brother, and it goes against your long-held firm belief that he is bad, right? If you go through with it, you know, if you start accepting some of it, you have to accept that you were wrong and that maybe there is some humanity in him. That is huge. That can cause someone to start fucking spiraling. No quiere denunciar lo contrario. Exactamente. So she can't hate him and she'll be wrong. Not like you can still dislike a person, right? But she can't like hold on to this ideals that she's been holding on to while at the same time accepting that everyone else in the world is saying the opposite of what she believes. That is beautiful. This is beautiful fucking writing. It's poetic writing too. Like, it's so fucking poetic. It's beautiful fucking writing. I applaud fucking Refugee for this, man. I applaud him. Applaud him, brother. But also, if everyone compares you with your sibling, well, I applaud all the authors. If I'm being honest with you, so far all the shows that you guys have shown me have been fucking great. This is growth in action. Yeah, exactly, Ardo. She can't even hate about the panties now. She can't even hate about the panties. She can't eat them. What?
まったくお前たちのせいで濡れ衣を着せられるところだった。
ああ、ルーデウスさんだ。
俺話したことあるんだぜ。
I talked to him once.
どうしてみんなこんな人のことを。
Is that a bird girl? Hold on. Interspecies reviewers has fucked up my brain about certain species. Interspecies reviewers, Nord's roommate is a demon. It's a burb. It's a burb. Oh no. Basta. Yeah. After a while, after not morning sickness, guys, but after a while of like being confronted over and over and over and over, anxiety presents itself in a physical form. And yeah, panic attacks, you know, they present themselves in physical forms. Just straight up about it. And people just seem to go ahead and like minimize it, right? She was pregante. No! Check the ends when you can. I'll after stream, man. After stream, I'm low. But that's the main element through that, right? It's like at the end of the day, wow. People really ignoring pregnancy turning foreshadowing already. Wow. People on fucking Twitter. Nick. but that's the main element. Is think about it like this, right? Rather than people admitting that there is anxiety, that there is elements of like, you know, mental health illness is present here, they'd rather immediately turn it into a joke. And I don't just mean like taking this as a one-time joke, but what I mean is like people solidifying, especially from outside, solidifying it and trying to go ahead and move forward from it. She is pregnante dosto. Oh.
この人のことがわからない。
心配だから。
勘弁してやってくれよ。
私あの人嫌い。
ルディもな、辛かったんだよ。
Oh yeah.
父によく言われた言葉だ。当時幼かった私には理解できなかった。けど、今なら少しわかる気がする。もしかしたら、あの人は私が思ってるような人ではないのかもしれない。じゃあ私はどうすればいいんだろう。あの人は私にどうしてほしいんだろう。父はどうやって仲直りしたんだろう。
Think about it. Paul did fucking amazing. Paul did fucking amazing with Norn, at least. Talk. But also, think about her own self narrative that's happening here. How did dad make up with them? What did dad do? That like everything's dad related. I'm gonna ask this, and it might have to be email only mode. Question, chat. Question. Coffee instantly went into email only mode. Question, chat. If Paul plays such a pivotal role, this goes out to everyone out there that's saying, oh, she doesn't have daddy issues. What'll happen when or if Paul passes away? Who is going to become her daddy? Who will she turn to as a security blanket? Because this has already been pre-established that dad is such a pivotal role for her. Yay, nay, hold on. Poll time. Who will be her daddy? And not in a sexualized manner, but in a way of like, I hate to put it this way, kids are growing up with their security blankets being tablets and little to no real actual attachment to their parents, right? And you're seeing a lot more of the distance being created between like parental attachment and whatnot, to the point where like, okay, well, that happened, whatever, and they move on to another issue and something else altogether rather than their parent. In this regard, though, she has such a strong, anxious attachment to Paul. If he passes away, who takes up that spot? Does she relapse into this sort of mentality or regress into it, chat? Wow. Going forward, seeing as though she already has these interactions with Rudy, right? And has his mentality. See that Rudy were to end up with Roxy. Some shit were to happen, whatnot, as it's already priming in here. Is she going to have some hatred or some disgust towards Rudy still, depending on his actions? Because this is already family dynamics that we're talking about. And nothing but rats. Nothing but fucking rats. Going further. Oh, fuck. Thank you for all of that. All right, we'll continue. I'll stop.
わからない。ここには助けてくれる人は
They're
誰
good
もいない。
questions to ask. Aw. No one here will help you. You know, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? Like, we'll be right back. Who am I kidding? We'll keep it here. What the fuck? What the fuck, ladies and gentlemen? What a way to like transition topics into. I like how it went back into emo only. What the fuck?
わからない。
どうした？
お父さんのとこに帰りたい。
そんなにルーデウスが嫌か？
Oh.
お前の兄はお前が思っているような人間ではない。強く賢く、そして尊敬すべき戦士だ。
わからないよ。
お前にもわかる時が来る。次に会った時は逃げずに奴と向き合え。お前たちは家族なのだから、
Right.
きっと仲直りできる。それにお前の父は逃げなかったぞ。
True. True. And really good advice from him, right? Really good advice from Ruger, just being a fucking Chad. Just being a goat altogether and having these conversations with them. Because at the end of the day, Ruger doesn't need to open up or doesn't have to talk about it. But still, him being a father figure, right, in that regard, and approaching it the way that like a good adult would, is fucking important. And I think it's huge in like some of the aspects of being an agent of change, of allowing her the process to start the aspects of change. School could be an agent of change for Norn. Ruger could be an agent of change. Paul could be an agent of change. So many things, right? New daddy. Oh God.
兄さん。
ごめんな。お前こっちに来てから辛いだろ。
Oh, Rudy.
せっかく新しい環境なのに、俺のせいでこんなことになって、なんて言えばいいか。俺さ、お前のことよくわかんなくてさ、こんなことになってもどうすればいいのかわからないんだ。
He kept it fucking real. He kept it fucking real. He kept it fucking real. He didn't go with fucking platitudes. He kept it fucking real, man. Character fucking development. Like, that's true. That's coming from the fucking art. It's like, I don't really know you, but I want to get to know you. You know, like, that's, oh, oh. Oh. Oh, why do you do this? Why do you do? Oh, no. You're projecting your father onto him. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. The daddy issues. They're projecting your father onto Rudy in order to actually allow the process to heal. Oh. Not just Aisha. This is why this episode is good. Why do you do this? I doubt it's projection. This anime is original. Director cooked it. Wait, really? Oh.
俺いるから、いなくならないから、お前のことちゃんと見てるから、だからここにいていいか。
My God. Hold on, chat. Hold on. The reason I paused is because I don't even know if you're still there. My whole left screen went fucking blank. Like it literally just shut off. Hold on. What a fucking moment for this to be fucking happening. Holy shit. Hold on. Display port. Oh, there we go. Oh. My PC got fucking shit. What the fuck? All right, we're back. Bring a few. My PC is crying. Y'all made my PC just fucking cry, brother. My PC literally just started fucking crying, bro. The whole area where it's like streaming both the episode and you guys went blank, went dark, and went fucking dark. I had to go and disconnect it and connect it back in. What the fuck? All right, we're backing it up. We're backing it up, chat. Hold on. 1933. Here we go. We're backing it up just a little bit. Holy shit, ladies and gentlemen. All right, apologies. Let's go.
俺いるからいなくならないからお前のことちゃんと見てるから
Ah, damn, brother.
だからここにいていいか
兄はきっと絶対に私を殴らない。
Oh,
きっと父のことももう絶対に殴らない。父は逃げなかった。兄も逃げなかった。なら私は
beautiful fucking moment, man. Beautiful fucking moment. That primal cry, man. That primal, like, I hate to be this way. I hate to just be straight up about it. But sometimes that like, you know it's real when you start fucking, like, it's just it's cinema. This is fucking cinema, bro. This is fucking peak cinema. I don't give a fuck who says otherwise. But, like, that primal cry, man, that comes out, like, you know, when you've been absolutely fucking destroyed, right? And you know that, like, you just need to fucking let it out to start the process of healing and start going through. Oh, bro. Yeah. I'll be honest with you guys. The time when I fell into, like, my deep, dark era, man, and I went through some deep, dark shit, and I had lost my relationship of a lot of years, right? I had lost, like, everything that I was planning on going forward. I let out a cry that I didn't think was, like, possible, and I've never cried to that level, like you know, since, right? Which is like a deep primordial, just like cry of anger, frustration, sadness, everything like linked in. It's so beautifully done. That scene is just beautiful, and also Rudy is just being open and being vulnerable like that, man. Knowing that, like, he wants to connect with her, and her realizing that, fucking chef kiss, man. That's a fucking chef's kiss. Beautiful fucking shit. Beautiful fucking shit. And I'm just, yeah. Color me impressed on that. Color me fucking impressed on that.
兄さん、おはようございます。
Ah, she's even talking to him now.
おはようノル
シルフィー様様、おはようございます。うん、おはよう、ノルンちゃん。
Guys, you know what this episode is? This episode is... Hold on. It's fucking dirty because Loki was fucking playing with it earlier. This episode is fucking cinema. Fucking cinema. That's what this episode is. That's what this episode is. Norn, best sister.
ノルンちゃん、なんだか
Oh, fuck.
うん、おはよう、ノルンちゃん。
Yeah, it was fucking Loki. He grabbed it.
ノルンちゃん、なんだか夜から少し明るくなったみたい。
結局俺は何もできなかった。あの後ノルンは何も話してはくれなかったし、何が不満で何がわだかまっていたか、その本心は分からずじまいだったけど、
きっともう大丈夫だな。
Yeah, because she's
おそらく
connected now.
自分で自分の気持ちに整理をつけたのだろう。すごい子だ。彼女は生前の俺にできなかったことをやったのだ。俺もあの時ノルンのようにできていれば。
Oof.
ルディ？お、どうしたの？
ちょっとね。
過去は変わらない。こじれてしまった家族との仲は戻らない。 兄貴の真意も何もかもが闇の中だ。
Yep.
ただ長い間奥歯に挟まっていたものが取れたような気がした。
Not only did he start her process of healing, he started his own process of healing by being there. That's fucking beautiful, man. And it's beautiful, his whole realization of everything, right? It's a powerful fucking episode. And I think it just overall showcases like the layers and the fucking depth that this show has to go ahead and offer. It's hermoso. It's
リリーも
beautiful.
もう大丈夫そうだね。さあ、僕たちも行こう。アリエル様に今回のお礼と報告をしないと。
ああ、リニアとプルセナにもな。
もし
Ed, do you think she got over her hatred to her brother too quickly? There might still be resentment, but there's at least a step, because all she said was morning, right? And she at least said hi. There might still be layers that she has to work out slowly but surely, but she already started the process of change. She already started the process of healing. And by doing that, just by saying hi, it's already going much, much more. You know, and she's probably been processing this for a number of years. It's fucking beautiful.
七星が元の世界に帰る時が来たら、その時は兄貴に一つ伝言を頼もう。
Oh,
あの時はごめんなさい。そして
oh.
ありがとうと。
My older brothers feel. Oh! The double meaning in that one. Ooh. Oh. Oh, the episode title fucking hits. Oh, the double meaning in that one, brother. Oh. Oh, don't skip. Wait. They finally have a home together, but. Nope. Nope. Thank y'all. Fuck that shit. Fuck you guys. Stay until the end. Turning point 3. What? What? What do you mean turning point 3? What do you mean turning point 3? What the fuck is gonna happen? Oh no way, bro. We still got like 7 more episodes or 8 more episodes, right? No fucking way, brother. Unless we reach like a turning point 4 or some shit as well. Like, what the fuck? What? Okay, chat. So question for you. Is this turning point related towards... Hold on. Is this turning point related towards like the whole trying to go find Zenith type thing? Because if it is it just the aspect of finding her, or is there more to it, right? Because in comes in the next question. Or is it meeting up with Roxy? Is Roxy a turning point? Are we gonna see Roxy? That's my main question. Or is it meeting up with fucking, like, say that like they have Geese and the party come in together or coming up with the plan? So I guess going forward, you guys have me on my fucking edge of my seat here. I'm trying to go ahead and process and think things. The next one would be, okay. Hold on. You guys got my mind going 100 miles an hour here. You guys got my mind going 100 miles an hour here. This ain't fair. This ain't fucking fair, chat. This ain't fucking fair, chat. You guys have my mind literally fucking swirling at the moment. So in comes in the next question then for everyone. Fuck it, I'll ask it. Chat, question for you guys. Is Nanahoshi going to come to Earth? And if she is she bringing more than just Rudius's message to Earth? That is my question for you guys. Because him saying that, like, go meet with my brother, is him assuming that, like, she'll be dropped off right at that time. A resident sleeper. Even further goes on to my next question, which is, wait a minute. We know Rudy is a fucking force to be reckoned with. But are Rudy's kids that he has with Sophie, or Roxy, because apparently the opening's fucking really spoiling that they get together, gonna be the force to be reckoned with? Or are they the ones that we have to look out for, chat? Yes or no? And tentacles, and all of that, and rats, and nothing but rats. Okay, well, fuck. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, what a fucking fantastic episode. Overall, I do gotta say, though, I'm super fucking thrilled about it. I can't state this enough. This show goes fucking hard. This show goes fucking hard, and this episode was phenomenal. It was a wonderful dive or deep dive into their psyche. It was a wonderful deep dive into the aspect of, like, hey, Sometimes we need to be there for people. We need to be vulnerable and okay with being able to go ahead and do that, right? With being able to go ahead and talk about our feelings, talk about our the aspects of connections and how we connect with people and whatnot. This season only gets better from here on. Hiya, how you doing, beautiful man? Yeah, fuck you on that one. Fuck you on that one. Wait, hold on. I gotta fix it here because we were having a.
Time for Turning Point 3.
So what is Turning Point 3? Now that we have that,
It is the time for true chaos.
SB. Okay, wait. I like how you have your glasses on because you don't want to reveal anything. But I have a question for you because now I'm getting really, really sus. Is Geese targeting Roxy?
It's an interesting, weird question to ask there out of nowhere. I mean, what? Why would Geese be trying to kill Roxy?
Well, comes in my next question. Is Geese involved with Itogami?
That's an interesting question. I mean, it's possible that many people could be serving the man god, but who? Well, that's the question to be asked.
Wait. Let's back that up because you just did something. Now you caught my attention, my man. Now you caught my attention. I've been watching some of our old videos when we've been talking about certain things. And I noticed something. I want you to say Geese is not serving with, or not with Hitogami, then Geese is with Hitogami real quick. Or the man god, or however you want to say it.
Geese is not with the man god.
Now say the reverse statement real quick. Geese is.
Geese is with the man god?
There you go, Reddit. Now you have it, SB. I'm kidding. No, I don't fucking know. But on the real with that one is when it comes to a situation like that, I'm just really fucking sus of him. Like the psychology behind them, right? And the aspect of like him being able to go ahead and like be at the right place at the right time with Rudy. The psychology, like psychological aspects and the traits that he uses reminds me a lot of Hitogami. And then seeing him in the opening, even for like that one or two frames where he's hiding behind Roxy, so expertly hidden. I don't know. It makes me afraid that like he's gunning for something. I don't know, man.
I think no matter how this season ends, I think you're going to be very satisfied emotionally. Satisfied emotionally. That's a stretch. You'll be deeply enriched in the emotional roller coaster that comes from the ending.
Oh no. So Paul dies. Like no matter what, like
I'm neither confirming nor denying any deaths that happen or may not survive or whatnot.
I guess I know. Let's go further than that. Let's say this whole arc happens, whatever. What comes next? Like where would we be heading to?
That all involves the rat. The rat is the true end game.
You see, SV, you're hitting on something that for me, I'm like, it makes me wonder how much is at play here. Specifically, we have Orsted who loops. So are we dealing with the one timeline, two timeline, multiple branches, universal theories, paratemporal distortions? What are we dealing with here? Because clearly Orsted is endlessly looping. What do you think is next? I think a battle with the man god is next. That's just me being straight up. I think the man god is bound to fuck up at some point, and we're gonna get like a huge fucking beef either with him or with Orsted. That is my thought process. Or the rat, apparently. One or the other. Or the rat might be related to the man god. Who the fuck knows?
It's going to be annoying that we're going to have to wait probably about 1.5 years for season 3 after this.
No, 1.5 years. Wow.
Yeah, it'll be about that, give or take.
Yeah, that'll be a hot minute. Where does the proof for the looping though? The very first season when he meets up with Rudius and he's like, "You're not supposed to be here." You know, like Zenith and Paul had what was it, like a miscarriage or something?
Yeah, Orsted notes on it.
Yep. So that's where that happens. So we know that he's been looping based on the fact that like he's able to call that out. Truly worth the wait. So I've just joined and thought we have to talk about Norn seeing what I hear is contemplations about time travel. Oh, that escalated quickly. So I guess in comes in the next question, right? Which is for Rudy. And I was asking Chet this: what would you do if you were an evil god and you want to destroy Rudy? How would you do it?
depends if you wanted to be quick or slow. Because if you wanted to be quick, you'd muster like a group of people and go after them. Or if you wanted to be more slow and a little bit more pinpoint, you'd probably try and gain their trust and then maybe make them to get a misstep along the way. Especially if you could tell things that could happen in the future.
That was a very political answer. I love you. I love you, but that was such a political answer with that one. Okay. So I guess with this episode, do you prefer Norn over Aisha, or where are you at with that?
I do like my maids more, so I have to side with Aisha.
Chat, what about you? Because clearly we're all having different thoughts and feelings and whatnot from it. I'm glad that Norn took that first step forward, right? There's still a lot more for her to go, though. And I guess it comes in my next question is, do you think that if Norn has daddy issues that would be weird? Because I don't. I like use the double whiteboard to explain all the fucking issues and stuff.
I think it's understandable that she has daddy issues.
Right.
I mean, she's gone through a traumatic event, and the only person that she had was her dad. So, of course, she'd latch onto her dad as kind of like that hero figure.
Right. And that's the main element that I'm trying to go ahead and bring up is if Paul passes away, what happens to Norn?
That's interesting. I could definitely see that. She'd probably develop some maybe attachments to something else, potential in the future, probably would struggle, but at the same time, she's already had to learn to adjust to her current new life without Paul. Mm-hmm. So she'd have some bearing on the ground.
So Aldenar brings up a point. Why would Hitogami want to destroy Rudy when he is so far useful and helpful for him? I don't see it. Because Rudy is, at least in my aspect, he's a pawn that has no king or queen. Like, Rudy is something that was out of his control. Like, he didn't bring Rudy into this world. He's not one of the things that, like, he's been accounted for, and Rudy has the ability to go ahead and do certain things. Which brings in my next question. Why would you want to go ahead and control someone? And if it's not Rudy, would it be someone in his family in that regard?
I mean, that's the thing with the man god. And I've always wondered that. Is like, what are the requirements for the man god to be able to appear in someone's dream? Is there like some specific thing that they have to have with them? Do they have to be in a specific time, place? Those kinds of different variables of like what allows the man god to be able to have that connection.
Ricardo Rick, if Hitogami wanted Rudy dead, couldn't he just kill him in the demon continent? Well, you also have to consider, right? Could he kill him, or would he send other people to try and kill him? And that's my main thought process. Is, could he actually get involved in it, or does he have to get other people to do his dirty work in that regard? And even if other people went to go do his dirty work, they would have to be stronger than Rujard, right? God is good. It's fine now. There's something else involved. Rujard is there. Yep. There's a lot of interesting questions that are being popped up there. And that's why I'm like, I don't know, man. I question it. And I sort of wonder, like, is Rudius going to be the one that brings down the man god? Or is there something else in the future by Rudy that the man god is afraid of?
It's an interesting question. I mean, if the man god is a bad entity for Rudy, when is that going to become an issue for Rudy? Because right now, Rudy's definitely gained a lot of benefits from listening to the man god. So when is that going to become a negative if you think that is the case?
Well, let's already be honest about it. It's already been a negative. Him not allowing him to meet up with Roxy, that's kind of sus. Not just once, but twice. Or multiple times just being highlighted where it's like, you know what, you're worthless. You really want your teacher to see you this way and whatnot. And like all of these aspects of like him not trying to get Rudy to meet up with Roxy once again. That is, I don't know, man. That strikes a chord with me as someone that like clearly there's some flags raised. There's some clear fucking flags raised on that. So I guess going forward, first off, do you think Eris is going to appear this season?
Not sure if I should actually answer that or not. But I will say there is talk that there's going to be an OVA.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Further than that, do you think that news reaches Eris that Rudy is engaged now? Or married, rather well said.
I think wherever she's gone, she's probably pretty isolated.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I'm immediately trying to go and process that. I'm like, oh shit. Man, we ain't getting no. Yeah, we're not getting an OVA. I don't know, man. People seem confused about whether or not there's going to be an OVA. But through that, though, I guess comes in my next regard. This episode, what was it for you?
This is one of the episodes that I was really looking forward to because I think it's a really good episode at showing, again, one of the major things that Mushoku Tensei brings to the table, and that's the human element to characters, the flaws, the strengths, the weaknesses. Because I think Mushoku Tensei gets lost on some people because they're so fixated on Rudy's past that they fail to understand like the whole premise of the story, that it's about change and growth.
Right.
And I think this episode again highlights it, but from a different character's perspective. Like, it's not about Rudy this time, it's about Norn. And I thought the interesting touch was, and this is a change from the anime to the light novel, is that Paul's face actually never shows up.
Mm-hmm.
It actually is just like she just sees Rudy, but in the anime, she actually sees Paul for that split second. I thought it was a really nice touch that the anime actually did, because it kind of highlights that she does see a bit of Paul in Rudy. And it does show that Rudy has grown and developed from Paul as well, which I think is why Rudy has become better as a person and not so dysfunctional, is because Paul has been somewhat of a positive influence. Even if Paul is far from perfect, it still has had somewhat a positive.
Right. And I think that's a major element from it as well, is like, for both of them, for Rudy, he was instantly projecting everything that happened with them. This was a healing moment for him as well, as much as it was for Norn. And that's something worth highlighting. Also, I was pointing out, like, hey, Twitter loves to go ahead and shit on Mushoku Tensei, and like loves to shit on, Rudy. Oh, he's never changing, he's never growing. Very clear message of like, hey, this is where he was and this is where he is now. And even looking back on it, looking back at all the aspects of growth and change and whatnot, it's a powerful fucking moment in a powerful episode, I thought.
It is. I think that's what makes Mushoku Tensei so good. But it does also make me feel that a lot of what Mushoku Tensei is about gets lost in the weeds when it comes to some anime fans, because they're not willing to allow a story to develop. They want, like, they would prefer like 3 seasons worth of story to happen in the span of like 12 episodes.
Right.
And I think it loses a lot of the build up, the growth, the development, not just in Rudy, but also others around him, because it's not just, the story isn't just about him. There are other people in the world as well that are impacted by the positives and negatives that go on in his life.
I think something worth highlighting is a good story, good characters, they don't need to fucking monologue it out. Like, show don't tell, right? Like, I don't have to be in here and be like, ha, you'll never know my magical plan. You see, I'm really trying to go to Mr. Steal Your Girl, and you're hitting me here, and I will come against you, and like, take 3 or 4 pages worth of a fucking novel to get through and be like, wow, that's such a deep character. No, that's, that's kind of a rough way of introducing a character that may have some complex, like, narcissistic issues, as opposed to just showcasing the elements that were shown pretty clearly here, which is like the amount of despair, the depth of like sadness and depression and anxiety, with just little actions and no extreme monologues, right? Like, it could have just been Norn the entire time being like, wow, I can't believe that my Oni-chan really hurt me like this when I was a kid, and just like monologue for 23 minutes straight, but there wasn't any of that. It was just pretty nice, pretty simple, in the shows don't tell, that allows us to immerse ourselves in these worlds.
Yeah, and that's what Mushoku Tensei does do well. It has a very good way of enriching the story with visual effects, which I guess animes do sometimes skip over that because of animation studios not having the budget to be able to do that, which kind of sucks, which is why some animes spend more time sitting at tables talking
Is that the
than
slime?
actually showing. I have to throw another jab in. I've been going at that community too hard. I feel bad for them now, but it's just one of those where I like where a show shows and doesn't so much tell, because I think visual effects can be more enriching, especially with music and all those kind of things enhanced together to make you feel what the characters are portraying out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that this episode was a masterpiece. I'm going to be honest with you. I fucking loved it. I thought it was a 10 out of 10. In just the way that it was written, the way that it was showcased. And for me, one of the key elements that just fucking blew me out of the water is how much care you can tell that the author put into thinking about each character, right? Like, you don't need to know anything about psychology to write phenomenal characters. In the way that he was thinking about Norn the entire time, and the way that, like, their interactions with all the other characters in a very realistic way blows any other fucking show out of the water. Like, that's what a good anime should do. And that's what a good realistic story should enable in it. Not slime, bruh. But my main
I love
regard, do you like slime? Considering all
I
your
do.
posts?
I do like the series. It's just I like to have a jab at it because it does do a lot of table talking in it, and I sometimes get to the point where I'm like, you don't need to repeat yourself so much in the series. So I'm like, I have a bit of fun jabbing at it.
Right. Well, through that, I guess for you, is there anything that this episode could have done differently? Chat, this goes as well.
I honestly think they did this episode perfectly, and they exceeded my expectations with that pull bit.
Yeah, that was powerful. That was fucking powerful and a half.
Because it really does add quite a heavy kick into how she sees people, and the fact that she does see, and I think that also gives more reasoning of how she does kind of let go, because she is kind of using Rudy as a bit of an anchor for her attachment to Paul.
Right. Well, I was saying this earlier, which is, imagine believing for a long, long time that the person that you care about or your sibling is the worst person in the world. You go to their uni and everyone's saying they're fucking amazing, they're a legend, they're incredible. And it's like, no. For you believe that they're the worst person in the world. So are you wrong or are they wrong? And like, that's what causes that anxiety. That's what causes all of these things to, like, start compiling. Because it's all of a sudden a friction of two different ideas. It's the idea that you hold versus the idea that society and everyone else around you is saying, like, is the truth. And so there's a lot of anxious moments and a lot of like interpersonal dialogue that I saw, like, Norn just having, and just like her crying and her just being alone, and then that bit of anxiety that she's in. And I'm like, that's fucking powerful, man. Like, that is so fucking powerful to see an author think about this and be like, you know what, let's showcase this, and then let's make this be the agent of change. These two different ideas that are correlating, Norn's ideas versus the world's ideas around her, and have her just be at that center and try to conceptualize this. It's beautiful. It's fucking powerful stuff, man.
It is. It's really well done.
But yeah, man, fucking exciting, dude. If this is where it's gonna go, I guess my question is, what is Turning Point 3?
Now the true end game, well, the true end game for season 2 begins.
Thanks so much for being here. For those of you guys that are dipping, I appreciate you. Because for me, it's like, oh. Are we getting the rat this season or is it next season? Because I think you mentioned it was next season.
It will be next season. I won't Yankee chain on making you think it's this season.
So then, if we're getting it next season, then that means that this is pretty much a clear-cut run into something major that's coming. So if the rat is next season, then what season is Despair?
I mean, that's the thing about Mushoku Tensei. It's a roller coaster when it comes to despair. There's always those good moments and those bad moments, and then good moments again and bad moments. And I don't know if we classify this as a bad moment for Rudy's life. I think this is more of a kind of like an in between where he's overcoming an obstacle. But I think we're kind of in the down part. Like, he's just got married.
Mm-hmm.
He's having a little bit of troubles with Norn. And we're still going down. What's going to happen when we hit the bottom?
So then, okay. Oh, if Paul dies, that's not going to be the final episode, is it? Because I'm assuming this season would end with, like, especially if we're looking at the opening, with Paul dying. So I'm now making an assumption that more than likely we're going to get a Depresso Rudy arc for a moment. And then something with it that starts off whatever season 3 will be. Or season 4. Oh, look at all the rats. Look at all the rats. Even if Paul would die, there's still things that may go worse. Here, no. Here's the thing: what you don't like, what people don't understand. Has Rudy healed? Is Rudy fully healed? No, he's not. If Rudy goes through another major event that brings him down to the hold on, I guess I'll showcase this whole. If Rudy goes through a major aspect, where's it at? Do I even have it in here anymore? I guess we can go ahead and do this. Rudy goes through a major aspect where he shuts down all the way to the hypoarousal, right? Traumatic event happens, brings him down. What do you guys think that'll do? What do you guys think that'll do? Relapse. Fucking relapse is what that does. When someone goes through an event that they haven't completely healed from, haven't gotten the right amount of like time to process and heal, whether it was his ED arc, right? And understanding that Eris broke up with him and like tore his heart apart or left and he took it as a breakup and all of these things. He really, really suffered greatly because of that AD. He spent many a time walking around. He had Sarah. He had 1,001 other things. And he just re-zeroed with Sylphie. He started right over from zero, right? But what happens when something major comes through, say Paul passes away, and he goes below zero? What will it take for Rudy to heal in this case with the relapse? So we already heard him say what healed him in this case. We already heard what he said healed him in this case. Sex. He straight up said Sylphie and being able to get it on with Sylphie healed him. Which for some people, sure, connections might heal, right? Having good sort of connections might heal. But that's what I'm afraid of. Where are we going to go, SB? Are we going to have a major relapse for Rudy? I feel like a human again. Thank you, Nick Mir. That's exactly what he said. It's more about people who care about him. In the first relapse, it was Zenith. Ed. Well, no, we're talking about the ED relapse in particular because his whole thing was that he lost his humanity when he had ED, right? When Eris broke up with them, he felt like he lost his humanity. People with major trauma points, specific to do with this, you can look up any research paper on this. When people go through a major traumatic event involving any form of breakup or death or whatnot, why do you think they're so similar? People, when they get broken up with, it feels as though something inside of you, it gets torn apart, right? And people say that it's a similar aspect as though like a portion of you has died, right? Same thing with concepts of death. They hit very similar regards inside of yourself and inside of the emotional capabilities, which brings us down to the same element. If he falls all the way down, he wants to feel human again. And he'll try to feel human a lot, which is why you get people that go into alcoholism and like extreme sex habits or cheating habits. What if the Fate series sex gives mana, so why not give HP? Okay, now they're just trolling. But anyway, the main aspect that I was trying to get into with that is if he relapses, number one, will it be a quick fix? Or number two, will it take him a while?
Will there be repercussions to it?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Will there be repercussions to him relapsing?
Because there are some people close to him that are of a certain religion that may not be particularly happy.
Mm-hmm. Wait. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Wait. Question for you, SB. Is divorce real or allowed in Mushoku Tensei or no?
I mean, kicking someone down the stairs is divorce right now. That's pretty dark.
That was dark.
Yeah? Yeah, well. Think of some Game of Thrones stuff there. I mean, yeah, divorce is a concept.
Is divorce real? And 2024. Wow, I think so. So, what religion is Sylphie?
Well, they're married.
Yeah, but what religion is Sylphie?
Sylphie is not of any religion, but there are others around him that are of a certain religion.
Non-religious, Rudy worshiper. Norn, on the other hand, okay. I mean, pushing this further, couldn't this? I guess I'll ask: is Sylphie gonna leave Rudy?
Possible?
Don't hit me with that. Don't hit me with that. Okay. Random question for you, because I'm seeing a lot of Cliff being thrown up there. Is Cliff going to live through the end of the season?
Potentially. Maybe.
The fact that it's not a yes, and it's already scaring me. The fact that it's not like... La Rata. Oh no. I'm coming up with like a timeline of events in my head. Something that has to lead to the rat, you know?
I mean, what would happen if Rudy tried to jump on a woman that's already taken?
Oh no. Oh no. People are like, oh, why are you talking about Cliff? Because it was like you guys were posting fucking Cliff nonstop. It was like 8 chats of just Cliff. So
yeah, it was because I was bringing up religion, so people instantly thought of Cliff because he's very religious.
So, I guess next aspect through that, because you're touching on elements that I'm like, I don't know how to ask it, so I'm trying to prep myself here. How do I go about this? How would I ask this? You really can't until the rat happens. Don't waste brain power on this. If it's just a fucking rat, like I will be done in. If it's just a fucking rat, or if it turns out it's a rat that like has magical abilities that can fucking drain you or something like that, I'm gonna be like, bruh, you're telling me it's not like geese or any of these other things that we've been mentioning? La rata, why not? It's the rat. But with that, man, overall, I gotta say, I'm super fucking excited. I thought that this was a phenomenal fucking episode. I'm kind of curious what Turning Point 3 is gonna be. So I'm kind of hoping to see what next week's gonna bring.
I think they're putting a lot more effort into Turning Point. This particular arc, well, not arc so much, but volume, because volume 12 is where the series will end at. It's pretty clear that that's where it's going to end at. So I think they're going to put as much effort and time into cooking volume 12, because I think it is a very important volume. There's a lot of things that are going on emotionally and world building wise, and just location.
Right.
So I think it's smart that they got through what they needed to get through, and now the true chaos begins.
Well, I'm gonna be looking forward to it, man. Next week, I feel like it's about to change, man. I feel like it's about to change. All of this, like, niceties of, like, you know, because people were calling it a little slow, but I didn't think it was slow. So I feel like it's about to pick up, and I have a feeling we're about to start zooming.
Things are gonna start heating up.
Yeah, that's what I thought. What day is next Sunday? Next Sunday is for me at least, the 12th. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys, I appreciate you guys for being here for these 3 hours of just Mushoku Tensei fucking cooking, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are fucking goats. SB, you want to shout out your channel so that way they can go and see where you're at? They should know where you're at regardless.
Yeah. A spiritual analysis. The analysis channel, not the news channel, but the analysis.
But with that, what holiday is next Sunday? I don't know what holiday is next Sunday. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all. I hope you guys practice that self-care. Guys, it's Cinco de Mayo. I got to go celebrate. I got to go take some drinks here. It is what it is. So you guys are fucking amazing. Guys, practice that self-care.